Hello, welcome back to the TGAP commentary. So today we're gonna do something a little bit different. Today we're going to review the entire Bethpage Long Island investigation sting. It's apparently the very first sting operation that NBC ever did for To Catch a Predator. The very first one. So yeah, and there are no particular predators come out of this one that I've seen like individually. So we're just gonna review the entire thing. We're gonna be here for a while, so get your snacks, man. Get something to drink, right? Because this is gonna be a very long video. The video itself is 40 minutes long, and this is all I guess accredited to a viewer recommendation for this one. It is at Stephen 0327, right? He had recommended this multiple times, but I'm gonna say one of his comments. He says, banger after banger, you just keep pumping out the content, right? It's the cleanest, best pleasure. But real talk, where's the Bethpage New York investigation at? Man, it's right here, man. I'm here finally. But yeah, we're gonna go through this. I feel like this is gonna be a different vibe, right? Because I have pulled up the listing for all the predators that they showed, and also the explanation of what the Bethpage investigation was like from the TCAP wiki. So we're gonna watch a little bit through it, and then we're gonna go check that out. But yeah, if you like to catch a predator, check out the channel. I have a lot of videos reviewing predators, including police interrogations, where it's more of a true crime style. Check those out if you like that, and let's just get started.
And now, Dangerous Web. Here is Stone Phillips.
Dangerous Web, man. Oh, man, where's To Catch a Predator?
Don't talk to strangers. It's a basic rule of safety every parent tells their child. But if there's a computer in your home, it's possible that your children have been talking to strangers. Tonight, we're going to show you just how dangerous it can be to let your child surf the web alone. And how quickly a stranger, maybe a sexual predator, can go from chatting with your teen in cyberspace to knocking on your front door. How easily can it happen? We found out in a Dateline hidden camera investigation. We want to warn you, some of what you're about to see and hear tonight is explicit. Here's Chris Hansen.
Oh, man, Stone Phillips, I do gotta say, he's a really good news guy, right? Like he has the voice for it, he has the poise for it, right? He 100% could have honestly been he could have been the Chris Hansen of To Catch a Predator. Honestly, I think so. Maybe a very how can I say this, scandalous thing to say, right? Very controversial to say of me that Stone Phillips could have done what Chris did. Maybe not to the same extent. Chris Hansen, his voice is fantastic. He added a lot to it, right? So yes, he is special, but I feel like Stone Phillips could have done the same. Back at the house. Sorry. This is like a whole movie.
This is a house on an average street in an average town. It could be your town, but there's something very different.
Oh, man, wait a minute. Is that my house, man? Oh, Chris Hansen, you're right? This could have been me, right?
It's about this place.
I don't even live in New York. I'm lying.
A major crime against a child is possibly being
this really loud?
Here.
I feel like it is extremely loud.
A crime that happens more often than you'd ever imagine. This grown man is here after making a date for sex with a 14-year-old girl he met only hours earlier on the internet.
Just come on in.
Holy crap.
Getting ready, okay?
Come on in.
Tonight, a Dateline hidden camera investigation exposes a very real threat to your children. Online sexual predators. You'll see firsthand how they find victims and seduce them. And you'll be watching as they take the next step and show up at a home where they think a minor is alone. The problem, as you'll see in our investigation, is epidemic. Just ask a group of middle school.
Oh my God, I can't believe what's happening. Okay, listen to me. This is very, very different. This is very 2000 as well, by the way, man. I like it. I like it a lot, right? It feels like I'm watching a movie, right? I'm so excited. But, let's put a pause on this, right? And then shout out to Saul, by the way, for posting this one. But we're going to go through The explanation of what the house is, I'm not going to read too much into, the serious consequences. I'm just going to read the top part for now. Bethpage, Long Island. Bethpage, Long Island is the first episode of Dateline NBC's investigation into online child predators. Yeah, originally titled Dangerous Web, it would evolve into its now famous Nomi the Year. I don't know what that means. Nomi the Gar of To Catch a Predator. The framing story used to kick off the investigation centered around the case of Christina Long, a 13-year-old girl who met a 24-year-old Saul Dos Reis for sex and ended up strangled to death. It had come to light through her online communications that she had met many older men online for sex. Also, it became interested in autoerotic asphyxiation, which led to her death. Dos Reis was sentenced to 30 years for the crimes. I don't even know if I'm saying that wrong or right. Dos Reis, I don't know. There was no direct police involvement for the sting, since sting was only conducted by Dateline and Perverted Justice. Because NBC was not yet running a parallel investigation with police, none of the men who came to the house was arrested immediately. Many got away scot-free, and their last names are unknown. And this happened in November 11th, 2004, or at least that's when it aired. Essentially, on the before half of 2000s, this came to be. But let's just return back to the show, right? Enough of me blabbering.
Has anyone here been approached by a stranger?
Gee, I had to stop it, man. Look at Chris Hansen, man. Handsome guy, right? I can't believe this. He looks so incredibly young. I mean, it's not like this is 30 years before, whenever TCAP first became a thing, right? But at the same time, he just looks pretty different. I don't know. I mean, this is maybe a year or two before he really started taking off with TCAP. But regardless, though, in his investigative bag, I guess he is in right now.
Chat room of middle school kids. Has anyone here been approached by a stranger in a chat room? These kids, ranging in age from 11 to 14, say it happens all the time.
It's just disgusting stuff that they send to me just to try to...
These kids are now somewhere around 30 years of age, by the way. It's just so jarring to see that, that's something I think about. It's how old are these people now? You know what I mean? Chris Hansen, you look at him now, and obviously he's a geriatric at this point, right? He is on, he's past his years, right? And so are these kids, man. They're a lot older.
Websites.
And
these people are probably already dead. No, I'm kidding. No, they're probably in the same room as Chris Hansen, ironically.
Aren't as computer savvy as their children, making it tougher to protect kids from internet predators.
The combination of their social naivete
so strange that's how
internet predators.
The combination of their social naivete and our computer naivete is a dangerous combination.
1 in 5 children online in this country has been approached by adults looking for sex, according to a study funded by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That large number doesn't surprise former FBI profiler and leading child sex crimes expert Ken Lanning.
There seems to be a bottomless barrel of cases. You go out there, and no matter what you do, there just seems to be more and more of these individuals.
Internet predators are very good at convincing you that they're your friend.
Shelley Riling of Danbury, Connecticut, had no idea about the danger lurking online for her 13-year-old niece, Chrissy, an honor student, altar girl, and co-captain of her cheerleading team. In May 2002, Chrissy told her aunt she was going to the mall to meet a friend.
Oh, no.
Instead, she met up with a stranger she'd met online, a 24...
Oh, man. I don't know, man. This is just not funny, man. There's nothing to really comment about, right? The commentary's gonna be weak, right? No, we're just starting. But man, is this just such a different vibe from what we're used to? This is a documentary essentially. This is not even a, you know what I'm saying? This is not a commentary. This is a documentary.
4-year-old married man named Saul Dos Reis. Prosecutors charged he took her for a ride in his car, sexually abused her, and then strangled her. Dos Reis was convicted of first-degree manslaughter.
When I opened up the door and I saw the minister, I knew. And I looked for Chrissy, and she wasn't there, and I knew they were going to tell me that she had been killed.
How do sexual predators find children like Chrissy on the internet? By going to a chat room like this one.
You know, that just sucks, you know. But it's also her niece, by the way. Like, where are her parents? I'm assuming, you know, they're either not in her life or they're you know, dead. But regardless, though, this is a crazy story. Like, I wonder how big the story was back in the day, right? Because, I mean, maybe this was a really big story, you know, like, international, right? To showcase the predators that are out there. Or maybe it was just a case that, you know, Dateline just caught on to and talked about. But it seems more like it was a Dateline thing, not an international case or like a national case, I mean, that happened. But
up with a stranger she'd met online, a 24-year-old married man named Saul Dos Reis. Prosecutors charge he took her for a ride in his car, sexually abused her, and then strangled her. Dos Reis was convicted of first-degree manslaughter.
When I opened up the door and I saw the minister, I knew. And I looked for Chrissy and she wasn't there, and I knew they were going to tell me that she had been killed.
How do sexual predators find children?
Sorry to pause it again, but, you know, in a very strange way, the case with Chrissy, right? I don't remember her last name, and I'm not going to, well, you know, I'll go back, screw it, why not?
And just seems to be more.
Shelley Riling of Danbury, Connecticut, had no idea about the danger lurking online for her 13-year-old niece, Chrissy, an honor student, altar girl.
Yeah, her last name is in showcase. But because of Chrissy, like, her death essentially inspired, like, a massive wave of, like, catching predators. Like, it's such a very, I guess, I wouldn't say happy ending because obviously she's still dead, but it's a good product of what came out of, you know, there was a lot of awareness that came through with her death coming in, right, and happening. But because, I mean, if it wasn't for her, you know, her case, you know, according to the TCAP Wiki, like, they would have never done a web investigation like this, you know what I mean, and had many people, you know, just, you know, bringing up just a couple, right? We have, like, Chris Swanson in Michigan, Grady Judd in Florida, I'm pretty sure, and obviously Chris Hansen himself doing the investigations, along with other amateur catchers. But obviously those they're a little bit here nor there when it comes to, you know, what I think of them. But yeah.
They were going to tell me that she had been killed.
How do sexual predators find children like Chrissy on the internet? By going to a chat room like this one, scanning the profiles looking for a victim. Then they'll instant message that child. Very often they'll get a message back. Usually the chats start off friendly. Later they'll get sexual. And finally the predator will try to convince a child to meet in person.
Teenagers are rebellious. Teenagers are curious. Teenagers can have a strong interest in sex and all these characteristics. And so what many of these offenders are taking advantage of are these characteristics of teenagers.
Laws differ from state to state, but generally it's against the law to use the internet to entice a minor to engage in sexual activity. It's also illegal to transmit obscene matter to a person under 16.
The fact that you use something like a computer and the internet, and that technology crosses state lines, that can also make it a federal violation.
Law enforcement agencies like the FBI and U.S. Customs have made catching internet predators a high priority, but they say the problem is just too big. Enter a group called Perverted Justice, a kind of online vigilante organization whose mission is to do what it believes law enforcement doesn't always have the resources to do: make a full-time job of going after internet predators. And they do it by posing as kids online.
This is what a 13-year-old girl
looks like. Oh my god, Frag, right? Oh my god, man. Frag from the beginning, man. Look at this picture, man. You could convince me this would be like a, you know how like they always like the big like tech companies, they like have like, yes, I made this tech company out of my garage, right, or something. This is a classic. I would honestly hang this picture up in my room. Like, look at Chris Hansen in the background, man. He's like, yeah, you know, Frag, you are the man, right? I don't know, but I was gonna say, like, it's crazy to think that Perverted Justice did their work way before Chris Hansen ever got involved in stuff, because, like, it's just so out there to do. Like, who really thinks to themselves, hey, we're just gonna start, you know, posing as kids online and, you know, catching predators or something? Like, that's such a bizarre idea, especially back then, I'm sure. But
At Perverted Justice.
At any given moment,
God,
one
he's
of
cringe,
Perverted
though.
Justice's
Oh my God,
25
Del
volunteers,
Harvey.
some who say they were victims themselves of sexual
wish.
abuse, troll internet chat rooms, usually through AOL and Yahoo, waiting to be approached by a predator. Are these chat rooms really that creepy?
Oh, they're just loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Oh my God, man! Look at these two, man. Look at these two cringe guys, right? Or people, right? Like Frank's like, yeah, I'm too cool for school, man. Look at my $100 watch, right? Look, definitely not a trillion like Chris Hansen's, but like 100, maybe 200, right? If we're talking, you know, in the highball, right? He's like, yeah, I'm chill. You know, I have my arm around the damn thing. I have my gut hanging out. I have my jeans, my blue jeans out too, right? And my balding hairline, right? Look, just a sore eyes for any woman, right? But not Del Harvey, right? Oh man, it's Del Harvey, man. Look at you, man, in those jeans as well, man. Stop.
half the
Stop.
times we have to close down some of the windows. There's so many guys hitting on us that'll crash our machines.
While Perverted Justice has no authority to arrest the potential predators it identifies, it sometimes aids in the criminal prosecution of those men. But many in law enforcement strongly oppose any civilian group conducting sting operations. Nevertheless, Perverted Justice exposes these individuals by posting their picture, phone number, and a copy of their sexual chat on its website. As a result, the men's family, neighbors, and employers are often notified by website visitors. Why is this not entrapment?
Well, it's not entrapment. First of all, we're not a legal entity. Secondly, we're sitting in a chat room. We're not.
He's right, but also it just seems like such a loophole where it's like, we can't entrap you because we're not police, but we are definitely entrapping you in some way, right? But no,
Legal entity.
I don't think it's entrapment,
Secondly,
obviously.
we're sitting in a chat room. We're not starting anything. They're having a conversation with us of their own free will.
Then, Perverted Justice volunteers will often engage in sexually explicit chats, coming on to a would-be predator to see if he'll take the bait.
If you don't trust me, that's cool.
It's one thing to chat online. The danger is far greater when it becomes person to person. So how many of these internet stalkers would actually make a date and show up to have sex with a teen? In other words, commit statutory rape. We decided to find out.
Like, I actually think this is extremely loud. Maybe I should have checked a lot earlier, but
more than a few sexual predators
I guess
believe
just my
there's a
headphones
statutory
are
rape.
blasting me. Let me lower me. Okay. There.
We decided to find out. More than a few sexual predators believe there's a minor waiting alone in this house.
Minor.
We're in for a big surprise. We've got our hidden cameras rolling in this house.
Man, look at this behind the scenes.
Surprise.
Like, what is that, man? This is like, I don't know, man.
We've got our hidden cameras rolling, so stick around and wait to see who knocks on our door.
Jeez. Wait, to catch a predator. What do you mean, right? It's not called To Catch a Predator. It's called Dangerous Web. Right? I don't know. I have no clue if it is.
Realistic set trail of an internet predator prowling for trail.
Oh, looks like we got another one.
To follow the trail of an internet predator prowling for children, from seduction in a chat room to a face-to-face meeting, you need three things: a realistic setting, someone proficient in the teen speak of the internet, and a way to record.
What the? Oh man, are you telling me they have a damn like?
Proficient.
Jesus, what does TXS mean? It means I have no clue. They have essentially like what these abbreviations mean.
Speak of the internet and a way to record it all.
Whatever they're called.
This is real time.
This is real time. This is happening right now.
Save as.
We rented this house in a middle-class neighborhood on a main street far from any school. Our technicians rigged the house with hidden cameras inside and out.
I bet that's him.
And we enlisted the help of volunteers from Perverted Justice, who make it their mission to expose some of the estimated 50,000 predators nationwide said to be trolling the internet at any given time.
50,000? I honestly think it's way more than that. Like, maybe nowadays, yes, it's a lot more, but I like to imagine even back then.
Internet at any given time. Volunteers like 21-year-old Dell.
Protecting little children.
21-year-old Dell, man. Jeez Louise, right? God, 21 years old, man. Dell's like fucking 68 right now, man. Like, what happened, Dell, man? What happened? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
From people who would destroy their lives. It's just such
what she said
a worthy cause.
Dell and other volunteers, like 38-year-old Frag, who are using their undercover names, go online, posing as 12, 13, or 14-year-olds, using a picture that is unmistakably under.
I thought that Frag would be a lot younger than 38. My God, Frag. You honestly though, I guess you aged gracefully, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I thought you'd be maybe in your like early 30s maybe. Well, technically he's not even. Well, late 20s. I'll give him that, right? I'll give him that, right? But he's just balding. I don't know.
Or using their undercover names, go online, posing as 12, 13, or 14-year-olds, using a picture that is unmistakably underage. Some volunteers pretend to be girls and some boys. Either way, they never make the first contact. Instead, they wait to be seduced.
Now, how explicit do you have to be to lure these guys in?
Well, we don't really have to lure them. They'll come to us. We go into these chat rooms. I haven't said a word to anybody. I'm sitting in the room, and the IMs start popping up, and they start coming on.
Sure enough, in a matter of minutes, the online chat becomes sexually explicit. This man, screen name Ed in NYC, thinking he's talking to a 13-year-old, says, "You feeling horny right now?" Oh, another me for.
I've seen this picture before too. This is like a classic. Like, of course, I've seen this picture before, but I don't even know where it was from. Apparently, it's from the very beginning. I do know one infamous person from the very beginning of To Catch a Predator, and that's the Dark Hero guy. And I know that his part was really, really volatile, very strange. So I'm excited to see what he is about. But
for Magic NY asks, "Are you a virgin?" The girl says, "Yeah." And then this 33-year-old proceeds to turn on his webcam, expose himself, and then masturbate in front of a girl
I was just kidding.
He's 13.
Please.
Right then and there, this man may have committed a federal crime by using the internet to transmit obscene matter to a person he believed to be underage. Other predators send pictures of themselves, then give their phone number.
Vincent Ambrosio, what the flip? They got Vincent Ambrosio
to be
back in the day.
Other predators send pictures of themselves.
Jeez, man. There's like an uncanny resemblance, man, to Vincent Ambrosio, right? It's almost like he went back in time, or I guess forward in time. I don't know, man. Or maybe this was like his older brother, like his uncle, his father, right? Who knows, man? Who knows?
Then give their phone number,
man?
Hoping for a call.
Look at these people.
Hey, is this John?
Is this John?
Hey, it's Mandy.
Dell, now posing as a 13-year-old girl, does exactly that. She tells the predator her parents aren't home and that it'd be okay for him to come to her house.
I was just making sure you were for real because I wanted to know you really wanted this.
There would be dozens of sexually graphic online chats intended for children. Chats so disgusting.
Oh, God. This is, like, there's just so many transactions that are happening here. It's just such a very... Oh, God, man. Like, I'm sure this is very psychologically impacting Perverted Justice. Maybe. Who knows? I honestly would think it'd be kind of fun to do something like this, right? Because you'd be like messing with people, but at the same time, like, just to know that there's so many predators just flocking to your DMs is probably disheartening, and would make you kind of paranoid. Like, imagine that. Like, it's like, what do you call it? Like, hey, let's say I were to do this, like, in Texas, right? And it's like, yes, I'm posing as a underage girl, right, or whatever, and I get like a bunch of messages like trying to solicit, you know, from my persona, right? Let's say everyone tells me like on there, it's like, yeah, I'm from Texas, right? Specifically like from my city. I'd be paranoid. Like, man, I just got like 50 guys, right, in my DM saying that they're from my town, and they want to blank a minor, right? Like, this is something that is
can't
crazy.
Even begin to show you. There would also be picture exchanges and phone calls. But how many of these men would be willing to make a date and then be bold enough to walk in the door?
They're moving
we
too
didn't
much.
have to wait long to find out, and we caught it all on our hidden cameras. Meet 35-year-old Steve, known on the internet as SR8219. He's a married man with children.
Just come on in and sit at the counter. I gotta finish getting dressed.
Dell, posing as a 14-year-old, invites him in. And even though there really isn't a 14-year-old in the house, this man still may be committing a crime, according to sex crimes expert Ken Lanning.
The federal law makes it pretty clear there doesn't have to be an actual child there.
And as far as Steve is concerned, there's a real 14-year-old.
I don't know if the mic picked that up, but it just thundered really loud. It just thundered really damn loud, man. You know, the damn weather knows I'm watching this. We're like, man, the look on Steve's face says it all. Christ.
As for why he's here, after we read you part of his online chat, it will be pretty clear.
I'm very nervous because I don't know how Chris is going to be like. I mean, this is his first time he's ever, done something like this, ironically.
You on the pill?
No.
What?
You wear condoms?
If you want me to, but I'm sterile.
I'm sterile.
Okay, then you don't have to wear a condom if you don't want to.
But before we have sex, I want you to make me.
He then assaults the girl with chat about oral and anal sex,
almighty,
and even
man.
asks a series of deeply personal questions like, when do you get your period? And another offensive question about her personal hygiene. Law enforcement has a name for this kind of guy, a potentially dangerous predator who goes from a chat room to a real-life meeting intent on an encounter with a child.
Is that the name or
Travelers?
Travelers.
Communicate.
Man, I think there's a traveler in Destiny, man. Oh God, right? All these game references, none of y'all get, right? Regardless, though, that game's pretty whack. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It's just, man, and just the wallpaper, the wood finish, right? Like a finish and stuff.
Jeez, from a chat room to a real-life meeting intent on an encounter with a child. They're called travelers.
He starts to communicate online, and then he is going to travel to where the child is, or he's going to try to get the child to travel to where he is, also they can engage in actual sexual activity with the child.
But today, Steve won't have a chance for sex with a 14-year-old. Instead, he'll be meeting me. He seems to think I'm a police officer. I haven't told him yet I'm a television reporter, and at this point, he has no idea he's being videotaped.
I knew.
You knew what?
Exactly what was going on.
Just take your hands out of your pockets, Swim. Are you done? Put them up.
No, fine. No problem. I know it was...
Is he dumb? This guy, man, he's annoying me. He's like, that's kind of funny, though. He, only knows the bare minimum or the damn maximum, right? He's like, it's either my hands are in my pockets or they're, in the air, right?
What's going on? I'm not stupid.
It's pretty clear that Steve thinks he was caught up in a police sting. He says he was just coming over to check it out.
So you were obviously suspicious in the beginning.
Of course I am. I'm always suspicious.
Always? Do you do this a lot?
No, this is the first time I've actually did show up to see.
Oh my, I do expect it to be the exact same though. There's nothing that's gonna change. All of them will have the same excuse one way or another, and this guy already pulled one out of his pocket, right? Out of his bandana, man, or his skull cap, right? He's like, yeah, I've never done this before, right? Banger, man.
Suspicious in the beginning.
Of course I am. I'm always suspicious.
Always? Do you do this a lot?
No, this is the first time I've actually did show up to see what was going on.
And you expect
So you texted before that?
Yes, I do.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
And how would you feel if one of your children was 13 or 14 years old, that child was home alone, chatting with somebody on the internet who ultimately came over with no parent at home? How would you feel about that as a parent?
I'd be pretty pissed off.
Right. You'll hear more from Steve later. Right now, there's another man walking down our driveway. He's the one who turned on his webcam to put on a little sex show. Now he's in our...
Jeez. Let's check out whatever his name is. Where is he? Apparently, oh, here it is. Here he is. So let's check him out, right? I don't really know if let's just read him out. Stephen Reddington. Stephen M. Reddington is a predator who appeared on the Bethpage Long Island Dayline NBC segment Dangerous Web, later known as the Gotcha Predator. He is best known for being the first predator ever caught and confronted by Chris Hansen. He's more affectionately known by Suspicious Steve as Suspicious Steve. Stephen M. Reddington, which is funny because they say they don't want to expose their full names and stuff, but they figured it out. Alias says SR82194. He has a wife and children. He's a carpenter. He's married, and he was born CA. I assume in California, 1969. I don't know. He's male and he's balding apparently. 35-year-old Stephen Reddington, a married man with children. He lived in Holbrook, Long Island, New York, where he grew up and graduated high school nearby in Plainage, New York. Stephen also worked as a carpenter. Reddington used the screen name SR82194 to hit up a Perverted Justice decoy who was impersonating a 14-year-old girl. Stephen asked the decoy several explicit sexual questions, including if they could have oral and anal sex, if she were on birth control, whether she had ever shaved her genitalia, and if she had interacted with older men online. He said to the decoy that he didn't want his wife to learn about them having sex together. Confrontation. Instead of an actual child, Chris Hansen welcomes Stephen to the sting house. Stephen insists that he was aware that he had entered a sting operation. He argues that he went to the residence to check what was happening and is often suspicious. Stephen admits to Chris that he has children and says he wanted to do. Stephen admits to Chris that he has children and says he just wanted to take the girl to a movie. After Chris exposes him on national television, Steve leaves the house. It doesn't permit them to put him on television, since this was Dayline NBC's first investigation into online sexual predators. Local law enforcement did not conduct a parallel investigation. Stephen was therefore never charged with a crime. Aftermath, Steve left a right to reply on the Perverted Justice website saying, "To whom it may concern, I am writing, what the hell? To ask if you could take down the information." Takedown with Chris Hansen, man. The information you put on your site about me. I know I made a big mistake, but by the information being there, it also hurts friends and family, not just me. I talk on the phone with someone that does fee work for you and was very upfront with her. I need the phone calls about hate and worse to stop. I made a first and last time mistake, so if you could please take the information down, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. His username. 2024 update. On his Predators I've Caught podcast, Chris was asked by a fan who was the very first predator he caught. What? Oh, who was the very... Okay, yeah. Despite this being a huge beginning of his job in online predator catcher, Chris had to call his producer Lynn Keller to ask who it was. Chris then remembered it was Stephen. During his first interview with Reddington, Chris also said he was not so nervous about Reddington pulling out a gun, but was actually more afraid of freezing and not knowing what to say. At the end of the podcast, Chris attempted to reach out to Reddington multiple times through several numbers he found, but heard no response. Social media. According to his LinkedIn page, Reddington worked as a carpenter. It used to have a picture of him on his profile, but it was taken down after the podcast aired, most likely in reaction to fans finding out about it. Furthermore, Stephen is very active on Facebook. His profile shows he is a devoted Donald Trump supporter. Great. It also reveals he is currently very close to his family. Ain't that ironic? Look at him, man. This guy, what an idiot. Anyway, a fan who traced where he lived revealed his last name. Man, I'm telling you, man, these TCAT fans are insane, right? But, man, you guys are so good. Some footage of Reddington that wasn't shown in the episode was later uncovered in a previous unnoticed bonus episode called In Our Own Words. While the footage technically isn't uncut, these two clips and other clips featured Eddie and Dark Hero are the only piece of bonus footage from the Bethpage sting to be officially released. However, an uncut version of Dark Hero's interview without the facial blur was available online. Additionally, a text sample of Reddington's unaired footage was found. It shows the beginning of his interview with Chris when they are trying to figure out the proper script on the table, something that also happened with Dark Hero. I guess we'll find Dark Hero's uncut, I guess. But yeah, let's just get back to it. Oh, that is a theater mode, not a full image, right?
Our kitchen. He's 33-year-old Musti, Me for Magic, New York. And he's expecting to hook up with a 13-year-old virgin.
Just sit down at the counter for a minute and I'll be down in a second.
Just hours earlier, after exposing himself online, he tells the girl he wants oral sex before he takes her virginity. And if that's not disgusting enough, he continues to titillate himself by asking intimate questions, like the size of her breasts, and other questions too disturbing for us to mention.
So you talk this way to all your friends on the internet?
Yes.
About...
I wonder how long they were actually at the Sting house, because if you see, it's nighttime. I mean, obviously the TCAP investigations themselves, they lasted a couple of days, including like at night. So I wonder at what certain point do they call it quits, right? Like, does it go like it's at 3 a.m. and they just go, you know what, we'll just end it here, right? Whoever shows up, they're out of luck, right? I don't know.
All these sex acts.
Technically, they rented the house, so they could honestly stay here if they want.
And in this
yes, and everybody talking like that, and they have a web site over there too.
So this is just a game to you?
Yes, it's a just game.
But is it a game when you send an obscene video?
Now, it sounds like you exposed yourself on a webcam.
But I'm telling you.
Did you or did you not?
I have a webcam too, and the other people have a webcam too, and we're playing.
You're playing?
We see each other and we're playing.
Yeah, what game were you playing on the webcam?
It's up to you, I don't know.
Our undercover operation has only been up and running for 2 hours, and already 2 men who chatted graphically about sex online and then made a date have come into the house looking for a young girl home alone. Watch our hidden cameras. You're about to see a lot more.
Oh
this
my
30-year-old
God.
man, screen name Dark Hero, showed up at...
I know this guy is like, oh man. Like, I have never seen his segment. I've seen clips of it. But I know that he's extremely scary.
Date with a 13-year-old girl.
Maybe not.
It turns out he has a history of mental illness with possible suicidal tendencies. So we've disguised his identity but included him in our report to illustrate how there's no telling what kind of unstable character might show up for a meeting with a
black
minor.
leather jacket.
Listen as we read a little of what he said online to her just hours earlier.
I want to be your master so badly.
I've only been with one guy.
That's okay. I'll tell you exactly what to do. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Are you going to pose nude for me, sweetheart?
Maybe if you're really good.
Just sit down at the counter. I want to finish getting dressed, okay?
Sit down where?
At the counter.
Okay, where the light is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But instead of meeting his fantasy girl, I walk in.
You thought it was a good idea to come visit a 13-year-old girl for what reason?
Just to hang out. Just a lonely guy, you know? I don't mean anybody any harm.
Have you ever done this before?
No.
You'll hear much more from Dark Hero later. So what kind of man
hear about him
seduces
later,
a minor and then shows up in person? Former FBI profiler Lanning says it's a man who can't control himself.
Once these fantasies become fueled by the discussions with the child, then in a sense the hook is in. This individual then is committed to this and then is drawn to trying to turn these fantasies that they've spent so much time into a reality.
God, like, I'm just kind of sitting here with like a disgusted look on my face, right? You can't see me, right? But, oh God, it's just... this is all moving really quick, by the way. Like, it's just... I feel like it would be a lot slower, like, you know... man, it's just like, you know, maybe we'll come back to him later. It's more like, man, can you just finish him, right? Because I'm just getting nervous, right? I don't know if he's going to hurt you, Chris, right? I don't know. But God, I know that Dark Hero gets like very, very like loud and gets like to moving around and walking around. I'm pretty sure, unless I just imagine all that. But regardless, though, this guy's a classic, right? Because I know he shows up in later investigations. But
and in a sense, the hook is in. This individual then is committed to this and then is drawn to trying to turn these fantasies that they've spent so much time into a reality.
Our little house in the suburbs has become...
You thought it was a good idea.
I don't mean...
Later. So what kind of man seduces a minor and then shows up in person? Former FBI profiler Lanning says it's a man who can't control himself.
Once these fantasies become fueled by the discussions with the child, then in a sense the hook is in. This individual then is committed to this and then is drawn to trying to turn these fantasies that they've spent so much time into a reality.
Yeah, I mean, very, very classic example of what, you know, how dangerous having these type of fantasies are. I mean, obviously, you shouldn't have these type of fantasies to begin with, but it's just, you know, obviously, if these people can push it farther than just through messages, you know, because, I mean, the messages are fueled with the idea that they will meet at some point. They will obviously aim to make that a reality, like how he said. And it's just... it is insane to know that there are some predators that don't, you know, follow through. Maybe because they're just too scared of it. Maybe they think of it like as the whole game, so they just like, you know, they just talk about it, and they do just do it for fun and just ruin someone's perception, right, or whatever. But don't actually go anywhere with it. But regardless, though, I'm pretty sure even doing that, there's a possibility of a warrant being out for your arrest just because you did this type of thing. But
our little house in the suburbs has become the destination for a parade of potential predators. In the first 8 hours of our investigation, 8 men show up, one after the other, from early afternoon into the evening, none of them realizing their every move is being recorded. Each man made a date on the internet and believes a minor is home alone and open to the idea of sex. Remember this man, screen name Ed in NYC? He's 34-year-old Eddie, and when he shows up at the house, he tries something none of the others did. Before he'll come into the kitchen, he comes up with a scheme to insulate himself from possible criminal charges, and he tries to get the girl to play along.
I know this guy is different because I'm pretty sure I've seen people react to, or I guess watch, his segment in particular, like Steven and whatever his other, like the other guy that showed himself on webcam. I've never heard of him, right? Maybe more the Steven, which is ironic because he's like the very first predator caught. But I know I've heard of him before, which is something.
Okay, listen, just say something to me.
What do you want me to say?
And say, Rachel, you're 19 years old, right?
I'm not, though. You know I'm not.
I don't know that.
I told you I was 14. You saw it. You said back to me. What are you talking about?
No. As far as I know. As far as I know, you're 19 years old, right?
But
oh God, that is just, oh God, let me sit up, man, because I'm just too relaxed. I'm just kind of relaxed, but it's starting to get serious, right? This guy, ironically, like, predators could have used this type of like scheme a lot more. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like this isn't that bad of an excuse to go, hey, by the way, you're 19, right? And obviously it's not gonna work just because of the chat logs, right? Like, essentially coming to the house is just the icing on the cake. Like, everything else does not matter. But I thought this guy was stupid. No, he's pretty smart with his excuse, at least, where he's like, as far as I know, you're 19, right? So if she says so, then technically, I guess, obviously it's not gonna work, but it is a very good attempt. I guess I'll give it to him. I don't know.
I told you I was 14. You saw it. You said back to me.
As far as I know.
No, as far as I know. As far as I know, you're 19 years old, right? Rachel, can you read between the lines?
When I walk in, Eddie admits he was trying not to incriminate himself.
My intentions are not anything, so I just want to protect myself, that's all.
But she told you on the internet she was 14.
19, she wrote me after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right.
On the internet?
Yes.
You want to stick with that story?
That's what I thought she wrote.
He's like, oh, man, you think I'm stupid? You think I'm stupid, huh? Whatever name is Ed, you think I'm stupid, Ed, huh? I'm stupid?
Yes.
Oh,
you
man.
want to stick with that story?
That's what I thought she wrote.
You want to see the transcript?
I'm sure you have it.
The fact that Eddie is so cunning doesn't surprise law enforcement experts.
Surprise!
Not only are they not stupid, but they're probably above average intelligent. They can be a wide variety of individuals, but a lot of them are well-educated.
Shut up, man. You don't have above average intelligence, man. Most of these guys are idiots. Like, yes, some of them are smart, but they're the same type of people to go, hey, if you're a police officer, you have to tell me, right? Like, no, you're a dumbass. You're just trying to think up of some plausible excuse. You're just very creative, I guess I'm gonna say, to try to find a reasonable, thing that could cover you. When in reality, these guys are not above average, man. What the flip is this guy on about, man? Obviously, I don't think predators are smart at all, but even to give them like the best chance to say that they're smart, they're definitely not above average. You're dumb to say that, ironically, because it's like no one smart enough would go, hey, smart enough. I don't know why I said it like that. Smart enough would go, hey, you know what, man? Let me message a damn minor inappropriately, right? That's a very smart thing to do, right? No, but I also do get what he's saying, by the way. I'm not just like shitting on him because I think he's giving credit to predators or anything, but it's more like they're trying to be slick and it just doesn't work. they're not just they're not smart. I mean, I don't know who would be the, that's just a very inquisitive request, right? Is who is the smartest predator, right? Who would be the smartest predator? I mean, it would obviously have to be a doctor of some sort or a lawyer, because that takes a lot of brain power. But not just that. I mean, sometimes it takes more than just education to say that you're intelligent. But I don't know. Honestly, I think it would be someone like like the higher profession. But I can't think of one up top of my head. Maybe if you have one in mind, leave it in the comments. Someone who you think would be the smartest predator that has ever been showcased, and just keep it TCAP too. Let's not do takedown, because I don't know, probably like 4/5 of all takedown, right? So yeah, in To Catch a Predator, who was the smartest predator across all the investigations?
Educated individuals.
We'll get back to
it. Honestly, I'm thinking about it now. It was probably the Texas attorney or whatever his name is. I forgot his name. The one that killed himself. The one that died. I'm gonna say that, right? The one that died. He was probably the smartest one, just because of he also didn't show up. Then his position too. Maybe I don't know.
Eddie later. There are more men on the way. The second day of our investigation turns out to be just as busy as the first. 8 hours, 8 men. Some come looking not for girls, but for boys. This is 35-year-old Craig, screen name 34 going on 17. He's here to meet a...
Ew. Anyway, I don't know if they're going to show that one guy from the very beginning. I'm trying to see if he's still here. No, I don't think he is. Yeah, I don't think so. So we're going to look for him, right? Let's see, where is he? Because I saw him in here. Not Edmundo. Does he not show him? Huh. I guess I've only seen the picture because he's not on here. There's Edmundo, which is the Eddie guy. Ryan, I don't know who that is. Steven, Craig, and then Dark Hero as well.
A 14-year-old boy.
Am I going to jail?
You're not going to jail.
I know.
Is this Ryan?
It was.
Might be.
As you can tell, it wasn't something I really...
Second day of our girls, but for boys. 8 hours, 8 men.
8 hours.
Some come looking not for girls, but for boys. This is 35-year-old Craig, screen name 34 going on 17. He's here to meet a 14-year-old boy.
Am I going to jail?
Oh, he's here. He's here. I guess I'll see.
I know. It was... As you can tell, it wasn't something I really, I was just going to hang out. I really wasn't going to do anything.
What the...
We talked. I know I said things.
I wasn't going to do anything, right? Oh, man. Again, all the excuses are the damn same. This is kind of funny. I mean, obviously, they all have to come from somewhere. And it's not... I'm not saying that, like, they follow the footsteps of the first investigation or anything, but it's just a very centralized, way of thinking. I mean, the hive mind for predators, I guess. But sorry, I just ate and I'm like, ugh, right? But
it's on there, but I've never done anything like that, and I was just bored.
He sure didn't seem bored earlier online when he tried to coax a teenager into the shower.
No, shower with me. I stink. I gotta shower. Me too. So let's shower together.
I know what I said.
Help me understand, though. I mean, if you're the parent of a kid...
It's completely wrong. I know it is. Even just to even talk like that. I know. Believe me, I know that this is stupid.
So many men start showing up for the dates they made online, a kind of traffic jam develops. This guy heads to the back door, looks inside, sees another man is already there, and decides to make a run for it.
Jesus, man.
But 20-year-old Esteban, known online as Skatey Pie, walks right into the kitchen and waits, although not for long. I asked him about his
No way! Oh my God, right? I honestly thought I saw him earlier, way earlier, but I didn't even think that they had him on the payroll, right? Where is he? I'm just gonna claim that victory for me, right? Where is he?
his house.
I'm not gonna let him
And
slide.
chat at about heightened on an
is going to try.
And it seems to think I'm beating me.
Look, there's Raw Night. I knew it. I was just thinking, like, man, who else could it really be, right? Like, I saw this and I was like, man, it has to be him. I thought it would have been a camera guy, right, to come out. But obviously, I don't think they ever showcased that it was, like, cameras, right? Like, I don't know if they did have a camera guy. Maybe it's the guy that's filming right now.
He seems to.
But I had a gut feeling, man. I should have gone with it. This is Raw Night. I knew it. Right? And I have made you guys proud still, right? I haven't missed a damn sight so far, man. Let's go back. Oh man, man. Look at me. Listen to me, right? Just the sight of Raw Night, man. This was like Raw Night when he was like in his mid-20s probably, man. Just ready at the hip, man. He had a blick, right? It's something that they actually did have I was gonna say security. I mean, that's what he is. So.
A kind of sides to make a run for it.
He's sprinting.
But 20-year-old Esteban, known online as Skatey Pie, walks right into the kitchen and waits, although not for long. I asked him about his online chat with who he thought was a young girl.
Would you tell me exactly what you talked
about sex.
About sex?
Yeah.
What does he have?
We cut short our interview because while we were talking to Esteban, yet another man is at our door. We asked Esteban to wait in the basement.
Come with me for a second.
In 2.5 days, 18 men walked down this driveway thinking they were going to.
Wow. He's like
toward our interview.
Oh God, right?
I've
never seen Chris this nervous.
Another
man
is at our door. We asked Esteban to wait in the.
It's like, come here for a second.
Basement.
Come here for a second.
Come with me for a second.
In 2.5 days, 18 men walked down this driveway thinking they were going to meet a 12, 13, or 14-year-old home alone. All of them chatted online, often talking graphically about sex, spoke on the phone with a decoy, sent a photo, and made a date to meet at the house. But almost all the men said they weren't really here to have sex, and most shared yet another explanation.
I've never done anything like that.
How many times have you done this? Never before in my whole life. Do you do this often?
No.
How often do you do this sort of thing?
No, not very often at all.
Have you ever done this before?
No.
Do you do this often?
Never. I've never done this, and never will I do it again. I don't know what even came over.
He reminds me of what's his name? Oh man, my life's over. My life's over. I don't know why he reminds me of it, man. Anyway, let's look through Craig, right? Like he got caught. Let's just take a break, right? Anyway, Craig Haas, right? Craig J. Haas is a potential predator who surfaced during the Bethpage Long Island Dateline NBC segment Dangerous Web, later known as the Potential Predator. He is best known for being the first predator to target a male decoy in any of Chris Hansen's investigation, as well as dramatically freaking out when he was exposed by Hansen. I guess we'll get to that in a minute, right? Craig Haas, well, maybe he will in a second. Hold on.
Over me, come do this.
But perhaps the most creative excuses.
No, not in recent time, right? So Craig Haas, there he is. Haas's profile picture at the time of the sting. 34, going on 17. Car salesman. He was born December 1963. He's male. Haas worked in an automobile industry for Honda. More specifically, he was a car buyer and seller who collected money for sold cars and flipped money off them. He lived in Hicksville, Nassau County, Long Island, New York, and attended local high school there. Haas was 40. Haas talked with a person who looked underage in an AOL chat room. He began by asking about the decoy's age, which was only 14. Haas started to freak out a bit, but continued talking with the dummy. Anyway. He lied and told the decoy he was 35 and asked the boy how he was doing. The boy said he was bored and had nothing going on and was stuck at his father's house. Haas then asked the boy if he wanted to hang out and fool around. The decoy did not directly answer the question, but instead asked Haas small talk questions like where he lived and worked. Haas then asked again if they could hang out, to which the decoy agreed. Haas then asked the boy when they could hang out, and the decoy said the next day. The decoy lied to Haas, telling him his father would not be home. The two continue chatting, and finally the decoy tells them they cannot do anything physical because his mom and stepdad will be checking on him soon, really because the Sting House was not in use by Dayline NBC. Haas tried arguing, not even a quick blowjob, which the decoy disagreed. Haas 2 days later asked the decoy if they could have sex. The decoy agreed. Haas asked the decoy if he could sneak in and have oral sex. He said tomorrow. Haas then told the decoy he had a fantasy of showering together. The decoy agreed. The next day, Haas asked the decoy if he could come over still, and the decoy said yes. The pair discussed how Haas should enter the house, and the date was set. Haas entered the house in Bethpage, Long Island, New York, but instead of being greeted by a real child, he was greeted by Chris Hansen. Haas, seeming nervous, was asked to take a seat. Haas asked Hansen if he was going to jail, and Hansen, the first investigation without direct police involvement, said no. Haas then told Hansen he knew his chat was vulgar, but he would not do anything and had never done anything like that. Hansen then read parts of his chat, specifically his asking to shower, and then asked Haas if he had done this before. He admitted it was wrong, and even chatting that way with the minor was extremely horrible. Haas then told Hansen he did not know what he was thinking. When Hansen revealed who he is, this is lost footage not seen in the episode but confirmed in post-production commentary. Craig leaves the seat, puts on his hat, and says, "You can't put me on TV," as he walked out the front door of the Sting House. With no police involvement, Haas walked away free. Haas, like most of the other Bethpage predators, was never charged with the crime. He continued working for the automobile business, but now works independently. Haas still lives in Long Island, but now is in Suffolk County. And that's him. In 2024? Jeez, there he is, man. Jeez. Oh, jeez. Right. Anyway, let's get back to the party. Right.
Came from 23-year-old Mike, known online as MUXACB 2003. He traveled from another state to meet a 14-year-old. At first, Mike says he's at the wrong address.
This isn't 554?
Yeah, no, this is not 554.
Then he says someone was impersonating him online.
I have no idea what this is.
Either way, he says
this
it's
guy,
all a
man,
big mix-up.
Explain it.
Hey, Chris, man, don't stare at me, right? Another one. Oh, I'm at the wrong address, right? I got given the wrong address, right? He's pulling a what's his name? Oh man, I just watched him recently. I'm pretty sure he's pulling a JPW, right? He's like, oh, I'm at the wrong address, right? Regardless, though, very interesting.
Tell me exactly how you ended up here. I mean, you just walked up the sidewalk and walked into this house because what? You thought it looked like a nice house? Yeah. Yeah. Do you understand why that sort of doesn't make sense?
After a few minutes, Mike decides to come clean.
Because I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking?
No.
So all that stuff you told me earlier is a lie?
A lie.
You want to tell me the truth now?
Yes.
What happened?
He admits he came here hoping for sex with a 14-year-old.
Did you bring condoms today? You did?
Yeah.
God, man. That's awful.
So what does that say about your intent?
It was wrong. It was stupid. I was immature.
Remember, so far, these men don't realize they're being videotaped, much less that they'll turn up on Dateline.
I am a correspondent for Dateline NBC.
But they're about to find out.
You can't put me on TV.
You can't put me on TV, man. And what about it, right? And if I do, what do you do, man?
Returning to our story, you've seen how 18 men, after trolling through chat rooms looking for young teenagers, showed up for what they thought was going to be a date with a minor. They're about to find out their date is with Dateline. Here again, Chris Hansen.
Oh, man, that was really good. Come on in.
In 2.5 days, most of these men likely broke state and federal laws by coming to this house to sexually violate a 12, 13, or 14-year-old. Some talked probably because they thought I was with law enforcement, although I never pretended to be a cop.
Well, you want to tell me why you really came over?
I really wanted to just take him to the movies.
But none had any idea our hidden cameras were going to expose them before a national audience. When we told them, most headed for the door, like Steve, the married man with children.
I'm Chris Hansen
Steve,
of Dateline
man,
NBC,
guy.
and we're doing a story on grown-ups on the internet.
Go ahead. I am leaving.
I mean, he
Go
did.
ahead.
He did say
No,
go ahead.
and you don't have my permission to put me on tape either.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story.
You can't put me on TV.
Can't put me on TV.
But some wanted a chance to try to explain themselves. Remember 34-year-old Eddie? He was the one who thought he'd found a way
This
to
guy,
cover himself
man.
legally.
As far as I know, you're 19 years old, right?
When I confront him, he's
Look at him,
ready
man.
with a story. Says he's a TV producer doing research.
Where are you a television producer?
I work independently right now.
Yeah.
What the hell? You know, ironically, man, that's a banger, right? I'm gonna say that banger, right? You know, just to say, you know what, Chris, man, I am looking for a story just like you, man. I'm an independent video, TV guy, right? You know, what the hell is happening?
He's ready
That's
with a
funny,
story. Says he's a TV producer
I'm a
doing
TV producer,
research.
independently.
Where are you a television producer?
I work independently right now.
Yeah.
So
You know, it's ironic because I work in television too. With Dateline NBC.
At first, this television producer
Oh,
appears a
man.
bit camera shy, but then he decides to
shy.
open up.
I haven't done anything wrong at all. If you go into the transcripts, time
I
and
read
time
all the
again,
transcripts.
everything that was said.
Picture this.
Everything.
Picture this. You lying back, eyes straddle your chest. It sounds like you were looking to have a sexual experience with this girl, Rachel, who we were talking to on the internet. I mean, I don't know what other conclusion you can draw.
You can search me for a condom. I don't have one on me. I wouldn't have sex without one.
Eddie thinks he's pretty smooth.
Yeah, this guy definitely thinks he is like convincing the room right now, but you're really not, man. Like, take the hint. Nobody likes you in this house right now, but he's like, I would never have sex without a condom. Like, you don't need to. It's not like a key to open up a door, man. It's not a requirement to get to the end goal, but
We were talking to on the internet. I mean, I don't know what other conclusion you can draw.
You can search me for a condom. I don't have one on me. I wouldn't have sex without one.
Eddie thinks he's pretty smooth, and he's not quite finished. He's got yet another excuse why he's not really here for sex.
Besides, she's supposedly a virgin, so she's never had sex anyway, so I certainly wouldn't want to be the first.
Kind of sounds like you might have been excited
That's
about the fact
ironic.
that she was a virgin in here.
yeah.
I don't think so. You don't see that in there. And in fact, all you see is just little test scenarios.
So you
For
just
the
go
record, it appears
What?
Eddie has worked as a TV producer.
I'm very interested in your story. I think it's a great thing that you're doing. I think it's something that you should certainly
This guy is getting on my nerves. This guy is getting on my nerves, man. Oh my. Okay, so first things, he's like, you know what? Me and you, Chris, we're one and the same, right? We're both looking for the same thing, right? A good story, right? And I was looking for one in this 13-year-old girl, right? Christ. That, you know what? Pause on that. I'm so sorry for the graphic image. I didn't mean that, like, literally. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking. My God.
do more and
What am
more.
I saying, man?
And bad people left and right.
Thanks for the pat on the back, Eddie. Meanwhile, when it comes to excuses,
Wait a
law
minute.
enforcement. Thanks for the pat on the back, Eddie. Meanwhile,
Gentlemen,
when it comes to
have a nice day.
excuses, law enforcement experts say they've heard them all.
It's not uncommon for these individuals, when caught dead to right, to try to
Dead to
minimize and downplay and to rationalize and justify and
Yeah,
offer these
obviously.
excuses.
But when 30-year-old Dark Hero learns he was going to be
Oh,
part of our
no.
report, he tries a different approach. Remember, we've disguised him because of his history
You put me on TV, Chris. I'll kill you.
of mental illness and possible suicidal tendencies.
I'm ashamed. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go die.
Didn't mean anybody any harm.
Then he reveals something that, after investigation, appears to be true.
I'm a schizophrenic man. I'm supposed to see my doctor today.
All right, perhaps you should go see him.
I'm just getting my life in order. You're gonna ruin my life.
You're the one.
I can't believe this, man. Oh, man. Blame the victim, right? Then the victim in this scenario is Chris Hansen, right? But yes, that is what it was. Because I'm like, why does he start getting so upset? And it's because they think that they're ruining his life, which you only did that to yourself, Dark Hero. If that even is your real name, right? Who knows? We probably know who
I'm a
his name
schizophrenic
is.
man. I'm supposed to see my doctor today.
All right, perhaps you should go see him.
I'm just getting my life in order. You're gonna ruin my life.
You're the one who made the decision to come here.
But I didn't know I was going to wind up on television.
What would you have done with a 13-year-old girl?
I probably just would have said hello and how you doing, and we maybe...
Oh, man, this is getting insane. You know, I can't believe he's like, yeah, Chris, this is all your fault, right? I didn't know it was going to be on television. What the flip, man? You lied to me. But then he starts getting loud, and he's like, man, I only wanted to talk with her, man. Classic, hood classic.
One who made the decision to come here.
But I didn't know I was going to wind up on television.
What would you have done with a 13-year-old girl?
I probably just would have said hello and how you doing, and we would have taken a ride in the car, and that's it.
You were going to take her for a ride in the car?
Maybe. I just got out of a mental institution a few months ago. I'm just a guy looking for a girlfriend. That's it. You're going to take an institution a few months ago. I'm just a guy looking for a girlfriend.
I'm just
that's
a guy, man.
You're going to take a guy who's looking for a girlfriend and put him on TV and say, oh, here's a pedophile.
Oh my god, man. Oh my goodness. I can't believe what I'm hearing. He's like, Chris, you're gonna blank my blank, right? If you put me on television, right? I'm just looking for a girl, Chris, man. I'm just looking for a girl, and you're gonna call me a pedo because she's 12, man? That's crazy, Chris. You're out your mind. You're ruining my life, Chris. Jesus Christ.
You're gonna take a guy who's looking for a girlfriend and put him on TV and say, oh, here's a pedophile. That's what you're gonna do, right? Because I came to meet a 13-year-old, even though I didn't do anything. I think that's ridiculous. I think your story is a piece of shit.
It turns out Dark Hero has a long history of mental illness.
Jesus, man. Call Ron Knight. I like, oh my god, we really need Ron Knight, man. Bring his ass here, man. I swear to God. You know, Ron Knight would have wrung his ass, let me tell you, man. Like, if I know Ron Knight like I know Ron Knight, man, he would have not walked out of this house, right? If he would have stayed a second longer, man, he would have knocked what out of... He now would have... You know what? I'll stop yapping, man. This makes no fucking sense, man. I'm just yapping out of my ass. I'm still gonna say it, though. He would have not walked out of this house the same way, man.
A history with law enforcement. In fact, his former girlfriend was granted an order of protection against him, an order which he
You're
violated.
trying to kill me.
He later pleaded guilty to second-degree harassment and criminal contempt. Yet here he is, able to chat online, make a date, and show up for a possible sexual encounter with a 13-year-old.
Whoa, this is insane. How tall is this guy, too? Because Chris Hansen is pretty tall. I think he's like 6 foot, 6'1". Oh my god, I would have... Look, I'm just saying, man. I would have had an equalizer on me. I'm just saying, I would have... Ooh, you don't want to fuck you. You don't want me to say it, right? You don't want me to say it. I would have blasted his ass down, knocked him a few pegs, right? Just a couple of rounds in his chest, right? Stop it, man. I'm just getting passionate because no one threatens my Chris, man. Nobody threatens my Chris. Where's Ron Knight? Where the hell is Ron Knight? What the hell is wrong with Ron Knight, man? Oh, you know what? It's like the Incredibles like meme where it's like the guy rips the poster down, man. You're not my hero anymore, Ron Knight, man. You're a fraud. Where are you, man? I thought you would have like flown out of the damn ceiling and killed this guy, right?
Here he is.
You don't want to do anything
able
rash.
To chat online, make a date, and show up for a possible sexual encounter with a 13-year-old. While virtually every man who made a date to commit statutory rape showed up at our house, there was another who never made it in the door.
Because he got hit by a car. No, I don't know. Let's go not for Dark Hero because I think there is a uncensored version. We'll look for it, but let's look for Eddie. So, who else am I missing? I've seen this guy. I've already watched. I've read his. I'm going to read his. I think he's coming up next, and we'll see him at the end. Ooh, okay, so Edmundo Eddie J. Tapia, what do you call it? Is a potential predator that was caught in the Bethpage Long Island Deadline NBC segment, Dangerous Web, later known as To Catch a Predator. He is best known for his devious and smug New Yorker attitude, as well as telling the decoy to say she was 19 in order to protect himself. Edmundo Eddie Tapia. Ed in NYC is his alias. Profile picture. I mean, we can barely see him, but he's there. Movie producer, possible lie. Insurance agent, which apparently Chris Hansen said at some point he was. CA, well, I guess unknown, I don't know, 1970. He's male, eye color is brown, hair color is brown. Eddie was born on Long Island, New York, and attended Old Bethpage Plainview High School. Eddie attended State University, Sunny, I don't know, I guess that's, I don't know, I guess State University NY, Albany, in 2001, and his landlord filed a civil court case against him, and he was evicted from his apartment in New York City. Eddie was 14 at the time. What the hell? Eddie was 34 at the time of the sting and worked allegedly as a movie producer who was self-employed. He lived in Manhattan at the time, according to the Perverted Justice website. Eddie, using the screen name Ed in NYC, attempted to contact the girl posing as a 14-year-old girl named Rachel. In his chat log, he initially groomed the decoy and mentioned how the girl was mature for her age. Classic banger, man. Always, predators grooming decoys and saying that they're mature. Ridiculous. He then complimented the girl by calling her beautiful. He then continued making small talk with the decoy, like asking where the dummy went to school before asking if she was a virgin and if she had ever given oral sex. The decoy confirmed she had, and Eddie then got extremely graphic from then on, such as sucking nipples. Eddie became suspicious throughout the chat log that the decoy could be an undercover cop. However, he did not seem to be able to control himself, as he made a date within 1 day, making him a fast mover, right? When Eddie walked in the door, he was confronted by Del Harvey, who was posing as a 14-year-old girl. He told Eddie to take a seat at the counter in the kitchen. However, Eddie stood in the doorway between the kitchen and the dining room and told the decoy to tell him that she was 19 years old. Del played dumb, reminding Eddie that she told him she was 14. Eddie became slightly passive-aggressive towards Rachel, asking if she can read between the lines. And instead of a real child, Eddie was confronted by Chris Hansen and kept his claim that the decoy was 19. Chris then confronted Eddie with his chat and reminded him that she was 14. Eddie, however, denied this again and said he was only trying to protect himself. Towards the end of the interview, the cameras came out, and Eddie seemed hesitant and ready to bolt. Unlike most of the other predators, however, he decided to stick around and leaned over the kitchen counter, claiming he hadn't done anything wrong. Eddie then claimed that the decoy was a virgin and that he would never want to have sex with her because she was a virgin. However, Chris challenged this by saying Eddie seemed excited to see that she was a virgin in the chat. Eddie continued to deny this over and over again. He tried to compliment Chris by saying it was a great thing that you are doing catching bad guys left and right. Eddie then said, "Well, gentlemen," and left. After the sting house, the decoy told Eddie, "You showed up. That's wrong. Ed, little kids are off limits." Over the same chat room, he solicited the minor. He then said the drive home was horrible thinking of it. Eddie proceeded to try to defend himself, saying that what he was doing was research based, and he never once believed it was a minor. Which you're not fooling anyone, man. Aftermath and 2024 update. Since the sting at Bethpage was Dayline's first sting with no local police involved, Eddie's last name and what happened to him post-sting was unknown for quite some time. In 2024, Chris said in his Predators I've Caught podcast that Eddie was one of the more dangerous predators he caught in the first sting. He also mentioned some, at the time, lost moments of Eddie being camera shy. Chris then said that he wished he could track down Eddie so he could knock on his door, something Chris believed he still deserved for his crimes 20 years later. However, in 2024, Joey from Joey's TCAP channel identified Eddie, revealing his full name as Edmundo J. Tapia. According to his Facebook, he still works as self-employed movie producer. However, extensive searches on him reveal he was actually an insurance agent from 2011 to 2024, and now lives in Texas. Oh my God, this guy lives in my state, man. What the hell? Get away from me, Eddie. Right? Don't get near me, right? In 2011, man. Jesus. The bonus footage Eddie talking to Del and being camera shy that wasn't shown in the episode was later uncovered in a previous unnoticed bonus episode called In Our Words. While footage technically isn't uncut, these two clips and other clips featuring Stephen Reddington and Dark Hero are the only pieces of bonus footage from the Bethpage sting that was officially released. Although an uncut version of Dark Hero's interview without the facial blur was possibly available online at one point. Maybe it isn't out there. Maybe maybe
came awfully close. He's a man in a position of trust. 24-year-old Ryan Hogan, screen name Ryan4686, a New York City firefighter.
Want to call me? He wants to
Oh
talk.
my God.
After spending hours
firefighter.
engaged in an obscene chat, sometimes from the firehouse, he makes a plan to come over to have sex with our 14-year-old. But as he drives by the house, he phones. He's having second thoughts and cancels, telling our decoy she's too young.
He went back to saying there was immoral and illegal and everything else.
But the real reason may have been something else entirely. He goes home, gets back online, and says he saw this. A police car coincidentally parked next door to our house. But even that doesn't stop him. He gets comfortable again, turns on his webcam,
God, really?
exposes himself, and masturbates, all while wearing his New York City firefighter sweatshirt.
It's obscene. It's obscene.
And then, unbelievably, he says he's going to come by the house again. He never makes it, so we go looking for him.
Hey, Ryan. Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. And we're doing a story about adults in chat rooms on the internet.
At first, firefighter Ryan says he thought the girl was 19. Then he decides to come clean.
The reality is this. You had a conversation with somebody who said they were 14.
They actually found him and had a full-on conversation with him. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't go back into the firehouse or just, like, dip, right? Because maybe he thought police was here, but at the same time, he did say he was Dateline NBC. So, I mean, he's trying to defend himself. We'll see what he says.
15 years old. It was a very explicit sexual conversation. You got in your car and you drove by the house where she said she was home alone with no parents.
Right.
That's all true, right?
Yes. But did I stop? No. Did I, in the end, make the right decision as what not to do?
He was going to show up again.
You said that you had every intent of showing up at this house, except that you saw a marked police car parked next door.
I had driven, before I saw the marked police car, I made the decision not to stop. I really did.
So why did he get back online?
Performance on the webcam in front of someone he thought was 14.
And then afterwards, you turned on the webcam and transmitted this picture.
That was not supposed to be transmitted.
Of yourself exposing yourself.
That was not transmitted. For the record, I was talking to another person at the time. I did not intend for her to see that.
You didn't intend for her to see that?
No, sir, I did not. Somebody else was viewing that at the time.
But if you look at the firefighter's chat log, he asks our decoy first if she sees the picture,
this guy.
and then if she liked it.
Did you like it?
Is this appropriate behavior for a New York City firefighter?
No, sir, it is not.
For any adult to have this kind of conversation with somebody who says they're a 14-year-old girl home alone?
No, sir, it is not.
Then what are you doing, Ryan?
I made a mistake at the time. I made the judgment call to correct that mistake.
Is there anything else you want to say about this?
Yeah, I think people got to use their heads. People should know better. I made a mistake.
So what happens now to all these men who were so clearly caught in the act? To start, all of them were exposed by Perverted Justice.
Okay, now I guess since they've gone through his segment, we're gonna now check out his actual TCAP wiki. Okay, so I've been getting comfortable, by the way. That's why I'm sitting up. Like, I just get comfy, right? Ooh, man. God, can you blame me, right? Anyway, Ryan Hogan. Ryan P. Hogan is a potential predator that appeared on the Bethpage Long Island Dateline NBC segment Dangerous Web, later known as the Catcher Predator. He is best known for being the only predator in the sting who was prosecuted and successfully convicted. What? As well as being the first high-profile predator to surface in an investigation. Sorry, I burped. Ryan Hogan, Ryan 4686, Ryan 237. Parents, wife, firefighter, formerly an expediter, now I guess. Married, August 15, 1979 was his date of birth. He's male, obviously. Biography, chat, and sting. 24-year-old Ryan Hogan was a New York firefighter at the time of the sting who lived nearby in the same county as the sting house. Nassau County. He started a sexually graphic chat with the Perverted Justice decoy who was posing as a 14-year-old girl. He would chat at the firehouse about several inappropriate topics, including wanting to have anal sex with the decoy. Ryan drove to the sting house, but was deterred when he saw a police car parked next to it, assuming it was a trap. Later that day, Ryan exposed himself on webcam and masturbated while wearing his New York City firefighter sweatshirt. Using the firehouse computer while on duty, he did make another date for sex afterwards with the decoy, and was attempting to return to the sting house, but was unable to do so because he got into an accident. Later, Chris Hansen and his team located him at the fire station. Ryan was confronted by Chris, who then revealed that they were doing and presenting evidence to Ryan. Ryan claimed to believe the girl to be 19. He later acknowledged that he realized the girl was 14 and that he made the right decision to decline seeing her for sex. Ryan claimed that the image of his exposed penis was not intended to be conveyed to the girl when Chris showed him a picture of it. His conversation log, in which he asked the decoy whether she could see him masturbating, disproved his claims. As the interview was about to end, Ryan said he made a mistake and people should use their heads when thinking about and trying to groom children for sex, which sounds wrong. Aftermath. Ryan would later be the only predator out of the 17 men caught in the sting to be charged and was investigated by the New York Police Department. He was later suspended without pay. Ryan appeared at the Federal District Court in Brooklyn in front of Judge Lois Bloom wearing a FDNY t-shirt with a reference to our fallen heroes. He was released on $250,000 bond, which was paid by his parents. What? He was ordered to show up for a mental health assessment and to avoid contact with children under the age of 18. Additionally, Judge Bloom prohibited him from accessing the internet and referred to the complaint's allegations as a disgrace to the department. Ryan's lawyer, Brian J. Griffin, said he would be acquitted and his good name will be returned. Ryan's family had requested assistance from pro-pedophile organizations. They attempted to aid them in dropping his charges when realizing after more than a year that going to trial would be a terrible idea with actual pedophiles supporting him. Ryan chose to enter a guilty plea in May 2005 to a felony charge of attempted to send an obscene matter to a person under 16. He was given a lifetime registration as a sex offender, 5 years of probation, psychological treatment, and take random polygraph tests. He will later get married in 2018. In 2023 update, at the end of Hansen's Predators I've Caught podcast episode on Charlie Gregory Green, a fan asked if he could make an episode on Hogan, and he agreed. He would reveal in the episode that Hogan now works as an expediter. As far as Chris Hansen could tell, Hogan has not reoffended. Chris mentioned how he was particularly disturbed by Ryan Hogan in the past, since 9/11 was only 3 years before the sting took place, and expressed how horrible it was to see out of all the people they caught, one of them was a man who could have been a hero, although it is unknown if Hogan worked in response to the terrorist attack. Chris then went on and said that he was a guy who could have had a great life, great salary, great reputation, and could have been looked at as a hero with a nice pension. Instead, Hogan will be looked at as just another predator for the rest of his life. Chris attempted to reach out to Ryan but heard no response from him. Trivia: Ryan does not appear in any public sex offender registry. He is presumably a Tier 1 low-risk sex offender, since New York only requires Tier 2 medium risk or 2 Tier 3 high risk sex offenders to make their offender registry information public. Ryan was the first predator in a position of trust and authority. Interesting.
The online watchdog group. All the men's photos, phone numbers, and chat logs were posted on its website. The firefighter was arrested and charged with using the internet to attempt to solicit a minor for sex.
Probably his
attempting
family.
to transmit obscene matter to a person under the age of 16. Hogan has pled not guilty. This man, who told us he was schizophrenic, was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. So how would you react if 18 strangers showed up in your neighborhood in just 2 days? Probably a lot like these parents.
So you're 19 years old, right?
almost too angry for words.
19 years old?
I want you to say yes.
Oh man, look at her,
19
man.
years old?
She's like, SMH, man. I'd kill him, right? Oh man, listen, woman, if you're out there, man, hit me up on my Instagram. Oh man, I'm just kidding.
I want you to say
She's
yes.
bad.
We assembled a group of parents who live just a matter of miles from our hidden camera house. They all told me they were aware that computer predators are out there, but none was prepared to see what happened in their own backyard.
Personally, I'm totally shocked that many people responded, which just shows me that it's not something rare. It's not the 1 in a million guy out there. They're all over.
They're all over, and yet there is nothing to make them stand out in a crowd. Everyday members of the community.
What frightens me more is that these guys are guys you might know in your life. That might be your neighbors, or you might
Man, that's just so
guys
funny.
you might know in your life.
So guys you might know in your life, points at the only guy sitting here, man. Leave my guy alone, man. He's like, oh crap, man. She's pointing at me, right? Turns out he's been a predator his whole life, man. Ever since he was 1 year old, man.
Your neighbors, or you might socialize with these men and not know it.
Do you think that anything like this could happen to any of your children?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
They're out there.
I do, because they're very inventive.
So inventive that kids might not even
I'm glad
sense.
she's realistic, by the way. Everyone else, like, is afraid to say it. But, like, yes, your kid could fall
happen to any of
victim.
your children?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
They're out there.
I do, because they're very inventive.
So inventive that kids might not even sense there's danger.
It's scary because I think sometimes kids think that, you know, it's all a game and they're just, you know, playing along, and then they don't realize how all of a sudden it becomes somebody at your back door.
I think it's
Yeah, she
very
bad, bro.
easy for children to give out information unwittingly.
But if seeing what these men did wasn't frightening enough for these parents, hearing what these middle school kids tell me they experience online may be more shocking.
Has anyone here had a stranger say anything you felt uncomfortable about that was inappropriate? Has anyone ever tried to lure you into going to an inappropriate website?
Yeah, they give you the link and say, like, come here to view my naked pictures.
And like most kids, they don't always tell their parents.
How many of you, after having been approached or having a scary experience in a chat room, have gone to their parents right away to tell them what happened? Nobody? Why not?
Because we're scared of what they'll say. Like, if we'll get in trouble or yell at me or ground me from not going online ever again.
There is a disconnect.
Jeez, you know, that's really crazy. I've never thought of that. Like, of course they would hide it if they knew that, you know, the parent would take them off of the internet forever, essentially. So why, you know, take that chance, right? That's a very interesting thing, right? Like, I guess that's to a certain point where you have to have a conversation with your kids and be like, hey, by the way, you won't get in trouble. But whenever shit like this happens, right, you have to tell me, like, no matter what, because this is dangerous, right? There can be so many dangers on the internet, right? I don't know. Obviously, there has to be a built trust, and not just like essentially like you vilifying your kids, because they're like on the internet or whatever, and these guys are trying to prey on them. I guess it should be more of a place of trust, right? I don't know, though. I have no kids, right? So
From not going online ever again.
There is a disconnect between parents and children here.
Yeah.
There's a huge disconnect.
Terry Schroeder, founder and CEO of iSafe, a nonprofit foundation that educates children across the country on internet safety, says parents and kids need to work as a team.
I do not encourage any parent after hearing this interview to say, I'm getting that computer out of here, because you will severely handicap your child educationally, socially.
Instead, Schroeder says parents need to educate themselves about online dangers and create open communication where a child feels safe talking about inappropriate situations online.
Take the parenting skills that you use in real life and apply them in cyberspace. It's very simple. If something is going on, talk to your child about it. If your child comes to you, listen to them.
Yes.
In fact, Schroeder confirms what these kids told us. Most children are afraid to tell their parents about scary encounters online.
If they go tell their
Are they
parents,
showing them the like TCAP segment?
Schroeder confirms what these kids told us. Most children are afraid to tell their parents about scary encounters online.
if they go tell their parents may not believe them, and then now they're going to get in trouble. And 9 times out of 10, what we tell the kids and what we tell the parents, it's usually not the kid's fault. They're innocent in this.
Kid is a victim of a crime.
Correct.
Basically.
Yeah.
A sex crime committed by predators who know exactly which of the kids' buttons to push.
It may be attention and affection. For another child, it may be gifts. For a lot of teenagers, it's romance. Just somebody who will give you this romance, pay attention to you, tell you how pretty you are, how nice you are, or whatever it is.
It's one guy right there coming right to the door.
Yeah, they are showing them the thing. But, okay, we're going to go look at Dark Hero to actually see what happened. Okay, well, there he is. You know what I mean? There's our man of the hour, right? I don't know if there is. I'm sure if I see like a segment in it. Jeez, man. Just being publicized. And his full name too. Dark Hero 73. I'm just a guy looking for a girlfriend. Dark Hero 73, trying to justify looking for a 13-year-old girl. 13-year-old, same thing. Matthew Matt F. Dooley, aka Dark Hero 73, is a suspected predator who appeared on the Bethpage Long Island Deadline NBC segment Dangerous Web, later known as To Catch a Predator. He is best known for being the only predator to ever have their the identity hidden in the final airing of his segment, as well as his constant rambling and aggressive attitude during the sting brought on by his schizophrenia. Sorry. I think I'll be recording for like maybe an hour 30, I'm not sure. Matthew Dooley, what a shit last name, by the way. Dark Hero 73, ex-girlfriend, Asian roommate, conspiracy theorist, cab driver, former radio station worker, pipe maker, former mental patient. Unmarried, born September 1973, New York, United States, place of birth, gender, male, eye color green, hair color brown. So, biography and chat. Prior to being busted and sting, Dooley attended a school of broadcast in Connecticut, hoping to become a sports announcer. According to Perverted Justice, he lived in Queens at the time of the sting. Dooley had already been charged and convicted for second-degree harassment after stalking a former girlfriend. Dooley was 13 at the time, or 30. I keep saying 13. Was 30 at the time he solicited a girl he believed to be 13 years old for a date, as well as entering a master-slave BDSM relationship with the decoy. Jesus. His exact words from the chat, which were quoted in the episode, were, "I want to be your master so badly." When the decoy said, I've only been with one guy, Dooley's response was, "That's okay, you will be fine. Are you going to pose nude for me, sweetheart?" The decoy said, maybe, if you're really good." Dooley then proceeded to make a date with the decoy in Bethpage, New York, later on in the chat. Sting. Upon showing up at the house, Dooley was yelled at from across the house by Del Harvey, who he still believed was a 13-year-old girl. She told him to sit down at the counter. Dooley obliged and was confronted by Chris Hansen. There was several scripts that Hansen had due to him being unsure to which predator Dooley actually was, which led him to ask Dooley various different decoy names before they finally found the right chat. Chris then asked, "Why did you think it was a good idea to visit a 13-year-old girl home alone?" Dooley responds with, "I'm just a lonely guy, I didn't mean anyone any harm." Although the exact moment when the cameras come out to expose Dooley remains lost, it is known Dooley admits to being ashamed and apologizes before immediately going on the offensive, unapologetically stating he was looking for a girlfriend and lambasting Hansen for looking for pedophiles. Seemingly unable to make the connection that what sexual conversation he engaged in was a criminal act. He would also reveal he had schizophrenia, and had just been released from a mental institution. He then finishes off his tirade by telling Hansen he thought the story was ridiculous and a piece of shit. Hansen seemingly taken aback by Dooley's verbal tirade, making no attempts to rebuke Dooley's defense of his actions like he would others. Although the rest of the audio is lost or inaudible, Dooley can be seen leaving the chair and charging at Chris before being ushered out of the house. Fearing he would be exposed on TV and was about to face criminal charges, he readmitted himself to a mental hospital. Matt would take to YouTube 15 years later on Joey's TCAP channel and would attempt to explain his appearance on the show. His explanation would amount to nothing more than rambling conspiracy theory claiming to know the truth behind 9/11, showing his mental state was still very delicate. He was also heard rambling about how in the Cold War, the CIA tried developing a weapon that would cause Fidel Castro's beard to fall out. Matt also tried to maintain his innocence by claiming that the people at the mental institution never thought he was a pedophile. Matt also insulted Chris Hansen. Well, Chris called him a con man to the fact that Chris bounced checks in Connecticut, which was true, but somehow proves that Chris framed Dark Hero and was that Chris framed Dark Hero and makes absolutely no sense. He also claimed Dateline targeted him since he had some mythical knowledge. Only he knew, and the government targeted him. Also said something along the lines of Kendra's laws being a part of it. Dooley also claimed that Perverted Justice made all the stuff he said up, and that he did not have as much sexual intent as they suggested. In a podcast in 2021, Predators I've Caught, Chris said some guy had been cyberbullying, harassing Chris, and saying nasty comments about him since 2020. Hansen did not feel it was necessary to call the police. However, when he looked at the account, he realized it was Matt Dooley. In his podcast, Hansen called Dooley the most dangerous predator he has ever met. On record, Hansen said that David K. only physically lunged at him in the Fairfax Predator Raw episode. However, he also said he rethought that, and Dooley has also come pretty close to him in his segment in a pretty threatening manner, to the point Rod Knight and the rest of the camera crew had to nudge him away and over to the exit to defuse the situation. Chris also mentioned how, due to his mental health, the decision was made to run his story but kept his face blurred because he believed to be a suicide risk. Chris then mentioned Dooley's YouTube interview with Joyce TCAB and says he could have laid low and nobody would have known who he was, but he decided to go public since they hid Dooley's identity. Hansen then said this is how this case raises awareness for mental health issues. 2024 update. According to Hansen, in his Predators I've Caught episode dedicated on Eddie, Dooley still harasses Chris as of 2024, which made Chris wish he did not hide Dooley's face. According to Dooley's Facebook, he now lives in Utica, New York. Further background checks, like his LinkedIn page, claims he was and presumably still is a cab driver. 2025 update. Okay, on February 1st, 2025, Perverted Justice founder Xavier Von Erich created a video where he revealed some additional details about Dooley's life at the time of the sting. Hold on, I want to see what this guy looks like. Really? I pictured something completely different. Anyway, maybe we'll read him too. Created video, which revealed that after the sting, he was fired from the radio station he worked in and wound up working for his landlady's father's making pipes. His roommate being an Asian man that was confused when contacted about Dooley, who he described as coming and going often. Later videos on YouTube, which had been removed and lost, would show the confrontation with his face unblurred. Since Bethpage was Dateline's first investigation into computer predators, Dooley was never charged with the crime after leaving the sting house. However, Dooley allegedly told Joey that a joint operation known as FBI NYPD Task Force wanted to charge him with the crime since he was a high-risk person. However, since he agreed to institutionalize himself, he avoided criminal charges. Also, according to Joey, Matt claimed that Perverted Justice approached Suffolk police regarding the Bethpage cases, but they refused to prosecute any of the predators because they already had their own internet child sex crime force. Dark Hero says he'd been to Riverhead and Rikers Island, two very famous prisons in the NYPD metropolitan area, as well as Creedmoor Mental Institution, which is also very famous in the area. So I assume his segment isn't out there, but I guess technically his YouTube stuff is out there. Hold on. I don't know what this is.
Good. So we're here with Matt.
Okay, we'll actually watch. Well, maybe not all of it. I don't know. We'll see
These
how much I can
kids
handle.
thought they were pretty hip to dangerous strangers online, but they weren't such know-it-alls. Once, with their parents' permission, I showed them the results of our investigation.
So this is just a game, do you? Yes, it's a just game.
That was all like real? That all
it's
actually
totally real.
happened? I don't like it. Creepy. Freaky. Disgusting.
I'm with them, man.
Scary. Weird. Reality. Wrong.
Show your kids that you do care enough and that they
I
will
don't
not
like
be
that.
penalized if something happens. And also, be willing to learn from your kids. You may learn a lot from them as it pertains to technology.
Based upon the fact that we all have computers in our homes, do we then have the responsibility of almost being a spy or a cop to see what the kids are doing on the computer?
I've always done that.
But
She
if
bad as hell.
parents think
Oh,
they can
man, let me
completely
tell
protect
ya.
their kids by installing standard software or setting ground rules, think again.
We found ways to bend those rules and stuff like that.
So you know how to get around that stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever done it yourself?
Yeah.
Even
It's
though
not
your parents
good.
have said don't do that.
Rules are made to be broken.
No, what the flip, man? You don't get it, kid, man. You know, when whoever the hell made that term up, man, you're such an idiot. Okay, look, I understand some rules are meant to be broken, right? I understand that, like, that is true. But not when it comes to this. Like, just because you can, you know, have a get back at your parent for maybe not letting you, I don't know, go out with Sammy, right? Like, down the street, right? Doesn't mean you need to now, like, commit crimes, right? Or whatever, be a part of a crime, right? That just makes no sense. But, man, they think this is all a joke, man. This is not a joke, right? This is real life. Anyway.
Meet 11-year-old
this shit's funny,
Naomi
man.
Wright. She's become so good at getting around the rules, her mother is ready to throw out the computer.
Let's put it this way, she's not using the computer anymore.
killing
You thought you were being a responsible parent.
Right.
Jesus,
and
man.
doing
Why is
just
Chris
about-
this is such a, like, HD quality? Like, look at his eyes, man. He has a little twinkle in his eyes, man. Sheesh, look at him. He's like, high quality.
everything you could to make sure your daughter was safe on the
Damn,
internet.
she's
Plus,
not laughing
she
now.
gave me her word. She wouldn't talk to people that she didn't know, so.
In spite of all that, you're sure your daughter.
Man, you're not laughing anymore, are you, man? She thought that shit was hilarious, man. Look at her, man. She's like, rules are meant to be broken, ha ha ha. Real funny, right? Real funny. And now she's not laughing anymore, are you, man?
Right. Plus,
funny.
she gave me her word, and she wouldn't talk to people that she didn't know, so.
Bro, she looks so
In spite of all
mad.
that, your daughter was still talking to a stranger via instant
She
message.
lied.
It's pretty scary, I can tell you that.
To help solve Michelle's problem, we
Another
enlisted the help
player.
of Detective Mike Sullivan, author of Safety Monitor, How to Protect Your Kids Online. The first thing he noticed, Michelle had the computer in the basement, an out-of-the-way place where a child can operate unsupervised.
Put it in a public room, you know, right off the kitchen, dining room. You know, basically as you're going about your normal house chores, you're making dinner, you can look over and see the screen and check on what your child's doing.
Next, Detective Sullivan suggested setting up layers of defense, starting with internet service providers like MSN, Earthlink, or AOL, which all provide some type of parental control. Michelle has AOL, and although she had set up the controls, she wasn't using them correctly. AOL has recently updated its protective controls, making it tougher for kids to outsmart.
Everything is going to function through AOL, and then they're going to monitor what she's doing from there.
Next, our expert downloads WatchRite software that will allow Michelle to read all of Naomi's instant messages and chat room conversations.
So you can keep an eye on what she's doing, even if she changes her password on you. This program's still going to read it and let you see what she's been doing online.
If reading all her daughter's online messages seems too intrusive or time-consuming,
Yeah, I
the
thought
detective
maybe a
has
little bit.
another suggestion. filtering software that stops Leomi from sending out personal information, like her home address or phone number. The software would also detect a predator trying to make contact with Leomi, and then automatically send Michelle an email to warn her.
So if your daughter's at home and something goes wrong, the software, Cyber Sentinel, is going to send you a message at work saying, you know, you might want to call home. And it will actually tell you who the user online was, what was the inappropriate statement.
Wow.
So if she said some naughty words, or someone said something of a predatory nature to her, you're actually going to see it in the mail.
And our expert has one more suggestion for Michelle. Software that will record Leomi's every move on the computer without her daughter knowing it.
So the program is like a VCR, showing you, hey, wait a second, this is what my child's doing online.
That's great. Look at that.
I don't mean to be that guy. I really do not want to. Is that a fire alarm chirpman? Really? Look, I'm just saying. Okay, guys, right? Listen to me. If your fire alarm is chirping at you, man, change the battery out, man. Like, it's just that simple. I just honestly think that some people just don't know what that means. Like, no, okay, that's just, there's not a bird in your damn attic, right? It's the damn fire alarm asking for some more juice, right? Please, man, I don't want any of y'all to burn in a fire, man. You know, I don't want any of y'all, man, to burn in a fire.
Like a VCR. Showing you, hey, wait a second, this is what my child's doing online.
That's great. Look at that.
This program is actually going to come in and say, wait a second, they tried to sneak a program by you, but you can still check them out.
Our expert says each program is very user-friendly and costs about $40. And it's clear both Michelle and the detective think it's worth it.
There's no silver bullet that's going to take care of everything. What you can get to is a state of peace of mind as a parent, that I've done everything I can do to protect my child.
Look at that
while
mustache.
they're on the
That's
computer
crazy.
In my house.
I guess all the protective software in the world will not substitute for a good relationship between a parent and child.
No, an active, involved parent is more than any match for any predator that's out there right now.
Now that our expert has installed and set up tough protective measures, Michelle is ready to let Leomi back on the computer.
Have you learned your lesson?
Yes.
She's lying.
Now, join all of us at NBC News next time for another edition of Dateline. I'm Stone Phillips. Good night.
I love Dateline. Well, that is it, man. We lived through the whole hour of an hour and 47. Oh my lord, that is long. I guess let's just keep going.
Matt was caught up in the dangerous web sting, and it was kind of unfair because Matt was targeted by Dateline and other forces, and he has some things he wants to get off his chest.
Thank you, Joey.
You're welcome.
And I would agree with you 100% that I was indeed targeted by the program NBC Dateline.
Rest in peace.
And I don't know specifically the cause. However, I do know that it was, of course, in New York City 3 years after September the 11th, 2001. And the president at that time, George W. Bush, was running or preparing to run for re-election. I also believe that what is known in New York City as Kendra's Law was a factor, because the story of Kendra Webdale, who unfortunately was pushed in front of a oncoming subway in New York City by an individual by the name of Andrew Goldstein, was featured on Dateline many times. And myself and many of those around me who were also incarcerated at the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center were, affected by this law, where our specific cases had nothing to do with this individual. However, because the assisted outpatient treatment law was created due to the actions of Mr. Goldstein, we were persecuted by that law. And I believe that Lynn Keller, the executive producer of Dateline, located me within Creedmoor, within that program. I was also attending the Connecticut School of Broadcasting at that time. I believe I was targeted, and for the reasons I just mentioned.
What the fuck is happening, by the way? Like, I'm trying my best to follow along, but he's almost insinuating that essentially like a guy that maybe had commit a crime in the past.
Our specific cases had nothing to do with this individual. However, because the assisted outpatient treatment law was created by this law, many of those around me who were also incarcerated at the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center were, affected by this law, where our specific cases had nothing to do with this individual. However, because the assisted outpatient treatment broadcasting at that time, climate in New York City in early 2004.
But he thinks he was targeted,
in addition to my knowledge of what really happened on September 11th, 2001 in Lower Manhattan. In the summer of 1994, I had opened an account with the online brokerage E-Trade. I was one of the first customers of E-Trade, which is now a household name, I believe.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was only one other online broker in existence. So I think what Mr. Hansen did with his program to catch a predator was utilize it in a way to deter people from looking at the stock market, NASDAQ level 2, the New York Stock Exchange.
What the fuck?
Because those electronic exchanges work in a similar manner, and the interface is similar. And I also gained the knowledge from an article in Forbes magazine that featured an individual named Serge Millman on its cover discussing day trading. And I also read a book called The Electronic Day Trader that was written by two gentlemen named Mark Friedfertig and George.
Is this him? Is this Dark Hero? Is that what essentially is happening? Oh my god, this is a video recording of him? Oh my god, this guy, he sounds cuckoo, man. Like, I am trying so hard to follow what he's saying, but he's going from like topic to topic, just saying the craziest things, man.
Day trading. And I also read a book called The Electronic Day Trader that was written by two gentlemen named Mark Friedfertig and George West. And what that book describes that is vital to this day, and in my opinion is vital in relation to what happened on September 11th, 2001, and is extremely vital to the political realities of the last 25 years of this country, is that people often ask, is the stock market rigged? And my answer to that would be...
is yes.
Yes, at sometimes it is, but there's also times that it's not. And the mechanism that is at work when the stock market is, let's say, rigged or designed to favor a certain group of people.
I mean, I feel like it's common knowledge of like the stock market is that it's highly manipulative or highly manipulable. You're able to manipulate the damn stock market, is what I'm trying to say. It's possible. I mean, you know, like the people who do like the pull rugs and everything. I'm not just mentioning those, but like the stock market obviously goes off of how the business is going. I mean, we had like the case where Ronaldo, you know, he like moves like a Pepsi or like a Coca-Cola can away from him and said like, oh, I don't drink Coca-Cola, I drink water. Didn't like Coke lose like a lot of money for that? Like, yes, obviously you can manipulate the stock market, but not like, I don't know, press a button for like up the price, press a button for down the price. It's more like of how the company's doing.
The method to, or one of the methods to trade the stock market successfully is called scalping. And I believe that Dateline, NBC, etc., the reason I was targeted is because I have knowledge of those things and how they work, and Dateline was looking for a story And that story in particular, the Catch a Predator program, where many people showed up, who knows what they thought? Some didn't show up. So what was the district attorney, the assistant district attorney in Kaufman County, Texas, thinking? He wasn't thinking he was going to show up because he didn't. So I think because of those political realities, although I may not be describing them the best that I can at the moment, I think those are the political realities that led to me being targeted. So at this time, I would just tell people...
Wait, so what are the political qualities or whatever you said that led to him being targeted? That he was a mental patient, right? Because of some law, that the producer targeted him because of this law, right, for the mental patient stuff. The stock market, and what was the last thing he said? That you know, some people weren't gonna do it or some shit. I don't know.
People that if they're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, that indeed they are being monitored, and whatever political opinion they might express. Me personally, I would think it's their right in this country to express any political opinion they might like to, because we are guaranteed freedom of speech in the United States of America. What I've learned is that it may not necessarily be what you think that causes you to be targeted. It's what might cause you to be targeted or will cause you to be targeted is not thinking what they think, so to say. They have their political beliefs and their convictions.
Who's they though? You know what I mean? Like put a face to it, Dark Hero, right? Like, who is they? Because he's saying they and their political beliefs, but what side is that? You know what I mean? Because there's obviously two sides, you know what I mean?
In those people's minds. So if somebody comes along with different ideas that don't agree with their ideas, their political ideologies, it's not that you think what you do, it's that you don't think what they think. So that's what they target. It's very similar to totalitarian countries such as Nazi Germany. To get yourself targeted in Nazi Germany, you would have to think ideas or express ideas that were not in line with the Nazi ideology and, of course, the totalitarian regime of Adolf Hitler. So I think Chris Hansen is full of you-know-what. And he's taken this and run with it as long as he can. And honestly, I was taking a look at that second look at that Murphy, Texas episode just the other night. I think Chris Hansen has bounced more than just checks to pay for mugs and T-shirts and whatever he got arrested for in Connecticut. He bounced
what the hell,
chat
man?
Transcripts on the general public with that program. And the man is a fraud. And I'm surprised that any law enforcement agency would participate with him, to tell you the truth. So I would be happy to...
You know, guys, leave it in the comments, right? Whose side are you on, man? Dark Hero or Chris Hansen, man? Because, you know, Dark Hero, man, he's just a victim in all this, man. You know what I mean? Chris Hansen, everyone knows, man. Every single person that he's ever caught, man, they're all victims of the same thing. They were promised riches and gifts when coming to the house, man. And Chris Hansen decided to just pull the rug from under them and just go, hey, by the way, no, you're not winning a brand new Switch 2, right? You're winning jail, right? That's what you're winning. Man, you know what? I'm glad the Dark Hero came forward, man, with his side of the truth, man. Of the damn truth, man. What do I even say, honestly? Like, this is just a bunch of rambling nonsense.
To face off them, I may not be recording the best video at the moment.
No, you're doing great, Matt.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, you know, to tell you the truth, 15 years have gone by. I've been in Riverhead Jail 4 times. I was in Rikers Island for 6 weeks. I've been in state psychiatric hospitals since that incident, and I honestly have never had anybody ever think or accuse me of the heinous crimes that I was accused of by Dateline. I believe that I believe I have a right to file a civil claim against the Dateline program and or Chris Hansen and or Perverted Justice. And I would say that all three of those entities are separate entities just for that reason. And I think the nature of the program was designed for the same reason that Dateline has done other programs where they know that they may be in the wrong, but the people who they're profiling do not have the resources to fight back and defend them.
Well, this is just insane because he has 100% hold the grudges ever since that point. Like, he has done no form of mental reflection and realized, hey, you know what I did was bad. Like, there are some predators that, maybe now, past whenever they got caught, they've changed their life for the better and stuff. And I commend that, right, that they turned out, ow, it just really hit my ankle. Owie, holy crap. Maybe you heard it, I don't know. Ow, anyway. Like, they've turned their life around. They've turned their life around for the better, and I commend them for, I guess, being better than just, this guy, I guess I'll just say, where he's just stuck in the past and he really thinks that everyone's against him and everything. Obviously, they're all still predators, and I'll hate them for that anyway, regardless of, how much they've changed. But I'm glad that it wasn't a change for the worst. So it's like in the middle of like a love-hate, relationship on what I think of their future. Because, yes, it's better for you to be you're law-abiding, and, so I know some people even went to school to, get a career and everything. That's a lot better story than someone like this who's essentially still stuck in the past, didn't do better, going in and out of jail, just committing more crimes. Yeah. I prefer the ones that, change their life around, obviously. But this guy, he is stuck in the past, blaming everyone else for his issues, never reflecting a little bit even. And yeah,
wrong, but the people who they're profiling do not have the resources to fight back and defend themselves in court. Even with the even with the incident that they created with the pickup trucks, General Motors pickup trucks, General Motors had to go to a great deal of trouble to locate those pickup trucks in a junkyard to discover the evidence to demonstrate for a court that Dateline did indeed orchestrate those programs. So I don't have General Motors lawyers. I certainly do not have General Electric's lawyers. So if this is my avenue to try to fight back, then I would thank the man upstairs for giving me any kind of opportunity to tell my side of the story. And I believe that you are innocent until proven guilty. Many people in this country who have been crucified by the electronic press are stunned that this country doesn't seem to work that way. And if it does, when you're accused of such things, even if you're found innocent, you live with those stains and that dirt on you for the rest of your life. So I would say to Dateline that
there's an issue with that. First things first, he was never found guilty or innocent. Yes, I will say, right, the first investigation was a little bit in the air. But you cannot tell me that you accidentally showed up to this house with no real reason and that they made the whole thing up. There's a lot of reputation that comes with being a big news broadcasting, channel, right? Like, I don't think Dateline will just go, hey guys, we need to just make up some news, right? And let's just start framing people. I don't think that would be a response that they would have. Obviously, I'm not going to entertain his idea that they're just targeting people and stuff, but it's just like, I forgot what he exactly said. Hold on, let me take it back.
On you for the rest of your life. So I would say to Dateline that they're really not fooling anybody, because I have walked in my shoes for 15 years since that incident, and I have never really had any type of trouble in terms of being identified as a sexual predator, as a pedophile. Any person who's ever approached me, with questions.
Well, don't be a stupid. Don't be a dumbass, right? Like, you can't look at somebody and just go, he's a predator. That's just not how that works, right? It just, a sexual predator is just anybody that's out roaming the streets. No one's gonna go up to you and go, "Hey, you seem like a predator to me." Like, that's just a stupid, like, non-answer argument. Like, and especially, come on, you're a scary guy. Like, this guy is scary just because he seems so erratic, and it's plausible that he can just, like, blow up at any moment. You know, with just how fueled by anger he is with the whole thing. I mean, even years, like, more than 2 decades later after, you know, this happened, he still harasses Chris Hansen. So why would someone who knows of his history go, "Hey, by the way, you know, you're a fraud, Dark Hero," or whatever, without wanting to cause, like, an argument or fight or whatever? Because there's just no point to it. People don't want to just throw down with anyone, like, all the damn time. Like, there's just no point to it.
Questions, or was that you on that show? They honestly wanted to know, how did they do it? How does Dateline do that? I see something is wrong with the picture, but I can't figure it out. And the bottom line is that the Yahoo chat rooms, and you'll notice that the majority of the investigations feature individuals who are in Yahoo chat rooms. The Yahoo chat rooms worked with a drill down menu type method. So you would log into the system, and you would start at the top logically, and then there would be categories, and it might be business and finance, or sports, business, science, and technology, etc. And then as you drill down, you would stop, and then location and adult were kind of mixed up.
MD.
Where, the Yahoo chat service is gone.
Right.
But when you click location, I think it was, you click location, and then in the drop-down menu under location was adult. So for many web surfers at that time, they might go from one room to another. And because adult and location were easily confused, you would often go into location rooms, and there would be sexual type discussion taking place, and there was also instant messages. So if you saw someone with a female name, you might instant message them and say, "Hello, how are you?" and try to start a conversation. In retrospect, I realized that if you press one button on your keyboard and it's on YouTube or Facebook,
man, this just seems like a bunch of bullshit. Obviously, man, Dark Hero is on one, but it's just listen. I just don't think the idea that you accidentally stumbled across someone, figure out their age, travel to their house by accident. That's a lot of steps you have to take to mess up, man. Like, you had to acknowledge the age at a certain point, right? Like, that's just...
It's there forever. And that's reality I think everybody has to deal with now if they have a cell phone in their hand or a computer in front of them. So at the time it was the Wild West, and I've heard it described as the Wild West. I'm not going to make excuses for my behavior. I can tell you I was under a great deal of duress, trying to get back to work, trying to satisfy whatever requirements I had at the Creedmoor State Psychiatric Hospital, which were demanding, also intentionally inflicting distress onto me and also the people around me. I recall having class at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting on a Thursday night. I had left Creedmoor. I went to school. I came back. During that time, I was forced to stay at Creedmoor during the week, and they allowed me to go home on the weekends. And I remember coming to Creedmoor one time, I think it must have been a Friday, and whoever was behind the desk, "Where were you? We were looking for you." And I said, "Why?" I made all my required appointments. I checked in when I was supposed to check in, and they had called my friends, my landlord, my family.
Who's they?
They is the employees at Creedmoor.
Okay.
So
I'm just not following.
It's 15 years later. They covered my face. The show aired once. I went on. I'm still trying to go on with my life. Let me also say that there are lines in the transcript that are not mine. When I was returned to Creedmoor, which Perverted Justice reported on their website, my lawyer came into the room, and I asked her, why am I being kept? And she said, because you asked the girl to be your F toy. And I said to my lawyer, no, I didn't. I never said that. And she kind of threw her hands up, and I think she said, I don't know if she said yes you did, but she kind of threw her hands up, like I said, like she was kind of powerless too. And let me say, I grew up in Fresh Meadows, Queens, New York, which was owned and developed by the...
I'd hate to talk to someone like this because he is going from topic to topic to topic. Like, he's not extremely hard to follow, but at the same time, it's almost like he has an answer for everything. It's almost like he's been formulating this line of topic for like the past decade, which honestly is probably true. He's been thinking about this for the longest time. He went from, it feels also like there was just a lot of forces that were working against me. Like, they were also like depriving me of stuff at the mental institution I was at. Went to school, this and that, yada yada yada. Yahoo, the way their chat works is this way, not this way. Some chats weren't mine. My lawyer said this and that. Like, it's just you're yapping, right? It is what it is, though. But it's just at a certain point, it's like, man, like, have some damn self-reflection. But that he is blaming everyone else for what had happened, and first of all, he 100% believes himself. There's no part of him that does not believe he was not done wrong in this. So obviously, whatever he's saying it with 100% confidence, which is annoying to say the least.
The Helmsley Spear Corporation, Harry Helmsley, also owned the Empire State Building. We never were allowed to have pets, dogs, cats, nothing.
And, man, if Dark Hero had a damn dog, right? If he had a dog, a pooch, a chihuahua, a cat, right? One of those things, he would have never been a sexual predator, man. Jeez Louise.
Our apartments in Fresh Meadows. I did not say that. And again, I think if you use some critical thinking, you'll see that the entire program that Dateline engineered was because of things like that. Because people might at that time have been going onto the internet and looking at pornography or ordering sex toys online. I never said that. Perverted Justice or Chris Hansen threw that in there. I never said that. There's other lines in there that I did say. And it's comical to me.
Like, can I blank your blank? Yeah, it does not matter. Like, the idea that maybe they threw in, like, a line, right? Let's just say they just to be cute, right? Dateline threw in, hey, I really want to see you, right? And you didn't say that, like, wrong. I didn't say that. I instead said, I want you to be my sex slave, right? Like, it does not matter. It does not matter what exactly you said. It was all of it conjoined, right? It does not matter if they made some lines wrong or whatever, man.
There's other lines in there
and they
that
didn't. They he's probably lying too. He doesn't remember. I mean, it's not like he's gonna remember every single thing he said. But
and it's comical to me that upon my first admission at Creedmoor, in the state of mind that I was in, that a social worker by the name of Rosemary Warshaw had told me that I had just joined the Marines. I didn't see it that way, and it's not an excuse.
The hell?
It's the state of mind that I was in. I was isolated. There were bondage and domination rooms.
I am so baffled. You're telling me that you joined the Marines. Don't you have to be like sent through the most grueling, training that like a military has ever made for the United States? Like, isn't that the most, stress inducing, exercise regimen of any branch in the military for the US? Like, you just accidentally joined that. I don't believe there's a way you accidentally joined the Marines, by the way. Like,
I was isolated. There were bondage and domination
Or
rooms
tell me the truth. I don't know.
the Yahoo chat service.
Is there a way you can join
And
the
like
rooms?
some of the other individuals who showed up on the show, you know, in some level on my mind, I felt like I wanted it to happen. I did need some help. Creedmoor was torturing me. My family was not, supportive at that time. They were manipulating me. So, so you know what? I think if you take someone like Hansen, especially over the last 15 years, he's bouncing checks. He's arrested for bouncing checks. So here's someone who's going to later on bounce checks, but he's also going to have your constitutional rights trampled because he has a transcript. Well, does the transcript bounce? Let me tell you, it does. I know there was lines in my chat that were not mine. So that chat is, zero. It's worth 0 cents to me. It's worth whatever it was worth to NBC, which is a lot of money as it turns out. But Chris Hansen is showing that,
funny.
He's going to pay you 10 cents for something that costs 15 cents. Well, the problem with that is, who's going to pick up the difference? And that's where I'm suffering. So I don't know. I know Dateline made a lot of money with that program, and that's why they kept going on with it. So look at his credibility today. And that's what I would tell anyone who wants to take a closer look at that show. The discrepancy or the confusion caused by the layout of the Yahoo chat software is what made that show possible. And there were user-created rooms. You and I had discussed that the other day. And it was simply a threat. Right. Its existence was simply a threat to NBC and NBC Dateline because they are in the business of capturing eyeballs, selling advertising space to corporations, and winning the battle for eyeballs from ABC and CBS and Fox and now YouTube. And as we know, there's television executives all over the country still, crapping their pants to this day with good reason, because the music industry is basically gone, the movie industry is basically gone, and the TV people are hanging on for dear life. So
what the hell?
I'm not going to suffer for that reason. And, if you're ever arrested and you don't feel you're being arrested for any reason or the right reason, you're going to want to read the Constitution. You're going to want to know the Constitution, because we do have rights.
The Constitution,
anybody accused of anything has rights. They have a right to a fair trial. They have a right to an attorney. The media is not a law enforcement agency. And the amount of deception on that show was obviously...
Jesus, man. Like, at this point, I'm just pausing just to stop hearing his voice. Like, I know it's been such a long time. I don't know if I'll be cutting out this segment instead of, like, the Bethpage Long Island. Adding that to that, I will instead just make this a separate video. But we'll see how I see it in the very end. Regardless, though, I just can't believe that he really thinks it's this whole conspiracy theory that, like, essentially corporations are just milking him and all the other predators for money. Like, yes, they obviously made a lot of money from To Catch a Predator, but it's not like that's the main reason they did it. Like, even if they, let's just say in theory, because honestly, I'll take that back. They probably did do that for the main reason, for money, right? But they don't have to forge anything. Like, people were coming by the damn boatload to come visit these kids, right? There's no reason to forge anything, you know what I mean? But it's just, he is full conspiracy mode. And I was also thinking, like, he could 1,000,000% have a podcast. He could 1,000,000% have a podcast, because there's some delusional people that are just like him that would 1,000,000% listen to the shit that he says, which is kind of sad, I guess I'll say. 100% he could be a conspiracy theorist, and there's going to be some other people that will 100% believe the exact same things that he does. Obviously I don't want him to, get any to be publicized in any form, But it's just the fact that he probably could is kind of worrying, I guess, and just annoying. I don't know.
Noticed by Marsha Bartel, a former Dateline executive producer who refused to participate anymore and filed a lawsuit for wrongful termination and lost her lawsuit for wrongful termination. So to sue General Electric or NBC is extremely difficult. And because they know what they are doing or knew what they were doing, they said, oh, it's a parallel investigation. Meaning, you know, Perverted Justice, who's basically John Q. Public, is going to cut and paste the evidence, and the television personality is going to do the interrogation, and then the police are going to be the last stop. It makes no logical sense
you're
whatsoever.
A fucking idiot. That's not what that is. No, that's not how parallel investigations work. Essentially, they are supervising the entire process, i.e., you know, like verifying information and evidence being, you know, properly documented, that essentially whatever they do, they're doing at the same time. It's not that essentially they allow for Perverted Justice to just run rampant and just catch these guys, and essentially it just allows for the police to be there to arrest them. No, they investigate the evidence in real time and then make the decision whenever they do show up. Like, for example, like whenever they were at the Florida, it's one of the damn beach ones. Like, they would have Del Harvey run through and give them the evidence, like the chat logs, and they would decide whether the evidence is good enough to warrant an arrest, and essentially we'll just have them be there to confirm that, you know, the evidence, right? Like, oh yes, you showed up, you said you were gonna show up, there's more evidence against you, they arrest you there on the spot because you had committed a crime. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having a warrant with them having the ability to essentially lure you to a location to be arrested, and they don't have to come find you, that you come to them instead. But this guy, I mean, this guy has no form of, you know, real thought that makes any sense. So, you know, it's just, it makes sense in his own head, I guess I'll just say. I don't know. But
people are comfortable, and they should not be, with that reality in America, where Chris Hansen is going to leave the boiler unscrewed, and then if you want to come over, you know, and maybe charge him, you know, 10 extra bucks because you made him, you know, you made the delivery man come out extra 50 miles and so forth. He's gonna, you know, what does Chris Hansen do?
What is
Chris? He's socially engineering situations is what he's doing, and he's targeting people who don't have the resources to be able to fight against him legally. So he can't sell.
So over the 200 predators they caught, it's always been the same perpetrator, that Chris Hansen himself is forging chat logs. So how the hell does he get them to the house? Like, that's the part that people just keep on missing, is that the fact you showed up. Like, it's like whenever, oh, I didn't say that, oh, I'm being impersonated. Then how the hell are you here? If you're impersonated, right? If you're doppelganger, right? Someone that's trying to mess with you, plans a meeting, and somehow you show up. How did that happen then? Like, you're such an idiot.
The show,
you know what I mean?
Because nobody wants it. Because he's a liability. And that's exactly what he became to Dateline. And the amount that the assistant district attorney's family was paid is undisclosed. And then NBC reported that he was fired because of his marital infidelities. That is not correct. He was fired because he brought a SWAT team to the home of an assistant district attorney in Kaufman County, Texas, and cost the man his life. And the reason that Judge Denny Chin awarded the Conrad family the money that he did is because that's exactly what Hansen did. He intentionally inflicted emotional and psychological distress onto Louis Conrad in Murphy County, in Murphy, Texas, Kaufman County, Texas. So I find it ironic that Mr. Conrad was airlifted to, in Dallas, Texas, I believe the same hospital that President Kennedy was taken to after he was assassinated.
Okay.
So that's what Chris Hansen's business is.
Man.
He's in the business of character assassination, and that's exactly what he did to me. So I don't have any choice but to fight back at this time, and I would gladly do it. 1, for my own constitutional rights. 2, for the constitutional rights of every American citizen. And 3, because the man is a fraud. And I'm not going to have my life determined by a fraud. I'm not going to have my character.
That's extremely ironic, because he really has took a hold of your life because you've let him. He has haunted you for so long. It is kind of embarrassing. Like, you're a grown... I mean, at this point, I'm just talking mess. Like, he's a grown man letting another man dictate his life. Like, come on, man. Grow a pair, I guess I'll say. But regardless, though, he's on this tirade that he won't drop. This is what he believes, and he's not going to shy away from it. And it's just... That's just how it is. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how else to put it. He believes this. He's not going to see it any other way. He's already made this world in his mind. And yes, Louis Conrad was put into a distressful situation whenever they broke down his door and stuff. But he put himself in that position. There's nobody else who did it for him. And he decided to do that. It wasn't because Chris Hansen was there to get his ass. He tried saving his own ass by, unironically, not doing that. But he lost that because there was a lot of improper things that went about whenever that sting operation happened. And yeah, and his sister fighting for her brother and saying that they did him wrong. Bro, worry about your own right now. He was a predator. But obviously, no matter in which way you put it, for a grieving family, they're just never gonna see the reason, like see reason behind whenever somebody dies. They'll obviously always say like, hey, we've been done wrong, right? When in reality, the district attorney was fully a predator. Like, there's nothing else to say about it. She really fought for her brother. Like, that's ridiculous. That truly is ridiculous.
Character defamed by a fraud, and I'll be more than happy to face off with him in any public forum. And if you can make that happen, I'd be more than willing to do it. It doesn't have to be the Oprah Winfrey show, but if I have a foothold now to fight back for the reasons I said I would like to, then I will. And I don't need financial compensation because I have rebuilt my life. And I have received a commercial driver's license in New York City.
No way.
And it's not about money for me. It's about the truth. It's about defending people, defending our Constitution, and so forth. I'm going to do the right thing. And that's the bottom line for me. So, I'll do what I have to do. I don't want this to consume my life. And that's where I am.
I feel like, the idea that whenever you insult someone of something very particular, usually talking about yourself, I feel that just peeked through a little bit in his life. Like, I'm not going to let this take control of me. You kind of have. I mean, you have been harassing Chris recently, for such a long time. You have easily not gotten over it, man. That's just how it is.
Perfect. Matt, thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome, Joey. Did you record that?
We got it. We're all set, and we'll try to put it up tomorrow.
Okay, may I share it on my Facebook page?
Hell yeah, you can.
Absolutely. All right, awesome. I really appreciate it, man.
Matt, I appreciate it too, and I'll shoot you an email or I'll shoot you a text when we're done.
Awesome. Let's stay in touch, okay?
Shut up. Oh man, this guy is full of blank. Mental issues don't excuse your actions, jackass. It's not Dark Hero. Sorry, I mean it is. I used to back after watching Dark Hero. Yeah, I got it. Anyway, I will say though, Joey's TCAP. I don't want. Okay, first of all, no one better say that Joey, essentially, went soft on him. He's been doing the Lord's work. I do gotta say, shout out to Joey's TCAP. He's one of the greatest to do it. Because I know there are some people who are like, hey, you went soft on Dark Hero. You should have grilled his ass. But to be honest, I much preferred seeing this than seeing a yelling match where essentially it's just a bunch of BS that's being said. Oh, well, I mean, this is the same, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's better to have the information available than to just essentially break bridges. He could have maybe gotten a lot more out of him with him being cordial and stuff. Obviously, 1,000,000% he does not believe Dark Hero is innocent in any form, but he became close enough to him that he managed to get this video of him, which is good. So yeah, no matter what, Joey's TCAP is fantastic. But anyway, yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. This is a very, very, very long video. I think we're approaching 3 hours probably. I'm not sure, unless this video leaves out the phone call and I post it on some other day. This is gonna be a very, 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 very long video. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you to Steven again for recommending this. Definitely something that I had to get to at some point. I'm glad I did it now. I've been sitting here at minimum 2 hours, but it was fun. It was entertaining. Maybe the phone call was a little too much. I shouldn't have watched it all, but doesn't matter. We'll see if it's in the final cut or not, or if it's going to be a different video completely. But yeah, thank you for watching. We'll catch you some other time. I think this is going to be a Friday video, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see you next week with more To Catch a Predator. And if you enjoyed chilling with me for 2 hours, almost more than a movie's length worth of time with me, consider liking and subscribing if you made it this far. I mean, this is a very long video, so I assume at this point you've done both of those things. But if not, please do so. We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.